as clean and healthy as possible for your loved ones. So they have an amazing summer offer for you. Book a cleaning in July and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 and a 4th room free. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
Number 1 for live and local conservative talk.
They cover the important stories.
They're not going to stop Trump.
Close the border now.
It just makes sense.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number 1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Reno.
I'm Greg Jarrett, and this is the Fox News Rundown.
Monday, July 22nd, 2024. I'm Gernal Scott. President Biden has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race, endorsing his vice president, Kamala Harris. Now the Democrats must wait to see if the nomination is indeed hers, or if others will fight for the top spot at an open Democratic convention.
They need a fight with like a hole in their head with the way the last 3 weeks have gone. I mean, they need to unite behind Vice President Harris.
I'm Mike Emanuel. After the assassination attempt on former President Trump, now Congress is digging in to investigate. One senior Republican lawmaker is focused on a key point in the timeline that day in Butler, Pennsylvania.
What took place at that short time frame when you noticed the bad guy, and there was a 2-minute time frame before that he shot the president?
We're joined by House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan.
And I'm Tommy Lahren. I've got the final word on the Fox News Rundown.
President Joe Biden is now the first modern president to end a re-election campaign. On Sunday, President Biden announced he will stand down from seeking re-election, writing in a letter posted to X, "It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president." The move comes after a pressure campaign from dozens of Democratic lawmakers and independent Senator Joe Manchin, who caucuses with the Democrats. He was one of the latest to come out against the president prior to his decision to drop out.
I came to the decision with a heavy heart that I think it's time to pass the torch to a new generation.
The president said he would focus on serving the remainder of his term, but chose to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. Now, just weeks before the Democratic National Convention, the race has changed entirely. An open convention may decide which Democrat will take on former President Donald Trump in the general election, only 4 months away. At the Republican National Convention, the former president had the majority of the party's delegates and was named the party's nominee on day one.
With faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you.
But for the Democrats, Vice President Harris will not get the same smooth process. While the vice president enjoys the support and endorsement of President Biden at the convention, she must win the nomination by securing delegate support. The question remains now, will Vice President Harris be the only Democrat vying for the nomination?
It was a nod to political reality.
Josh Kraushar, Fox News Radio's political analyst.
I mean, you literally had some of the most influential Democratic voices within the party saying that they didn't want their party's nominee, the president of the United States, to run for re-election. They wanted him to step aside. And there were names as notable as Adam Schiff and Senator Sherrod Brown. We heard from Joe Manchin just before the decision was made on Sunday. There's a point where you just have to kind of accept the reality that there basically is no way for you to win the election with so many prominent names within your own party calling you to stand down. There was also the reality of the public polling and even the internal polling that the Biden campaign had acknowledged was not going their way. There was a poll out on Sunday with Joe Biden losing the critical state of Michigan by 7 points to Donald Trump, a huge turnaround from where we were last election. And some of the numbers were just stunning. The Detroit suburban market, which is a very Democratic friendly area, actually was leaning towards Trump, according to the poll. Just polls like that showing states like Virginia, New Hampshire, even Minnesota looking a little more competitive, perhaps winnable for the Republican ticket. I think the reality slowly and surely started to penetrate that very closed Joe Biden orbit.
Does it surprise you, Josh, how it happened? Many people expected, maybe not on a Sunday, maybe not via a tweet on X, maybe once he's better from COVID and can come before a camera, which he says he will do later on in the week, but announcing it, coming before a camera and saying, this is what I plan to do. Does it surprise you that it happened this way?
Well, look, what surprised me is that you didn't see Joe Biden in front of a camera. In fact, now I know he has COVID, but he could have taped the message if he was in able health. That he could have. I was also surprised, by the way, that he didn't respond by video to the Republican convention at all. Again, he's sick with COVID. I get it. That was an unexpected turn, but that illustrates why Democrats were so worried, because they see Joe Biden as someone who, because of his age, is unable to kind of do the basic blocking and tackling of campaigns that any other candidate, no matter how good or bad, could do to respond to Donald Trump, to attack the Republican Party, and to really run the type of full-fledged campaign that any candidate would be expected to do. It's the equivalent of running with an injured quarterback who just had trouble throwing the ball downfield. That was the reality of where Joe Biden was come summer of 2024, and we all saw that version of Joe Biden at that debate.
Let's bring in and expand our conversation with Fox News Radio's political anchor and White House correspondent Jared Halpern. Jared, a similar question about your level of surprise about this, and what do you expect? There were 2-3 dozen Democrats that have said that Joe Biden should step aside. Now that is done, do you think more will be galvanized to perhaps move forward with this?
Well, at least for those Democrats, there is maybe a level of certainty in what happens next. Part of the problem that had been occurring over the last month, certainly since that debate debacle that the president had, is that Democrats were kind of in this state of unease, uncertainty, not knowing sort of day to day if it was going to get worse, if it was going to get better. Fundraising was drying up. There was an awful lot of concern about what that might mean for down ballot in the event that President Biden were to get kind of wiped out on the electoral map. That can have huge effects in keeping the House and keeping the Senate. And so there were a lot of concerns. I think that if this becomes a sort of clean passing of the baton to Vice President Harris, as President Biden has indicated he wants to see happen, that at least calms down the anxiety about kind of what happens next. And it would allow Democrats to kind of unify behind the next nominee in the way that we saw Republicans do that over the last week with former President Trump. The problem for Democrats over the last many weeks has been that they have been far from unified. They haven't been united behind Biden, behind how do they want Harris to be the nominee? Do they want an open primary process, kind of a shortened process? That is not how you want to be campaigning in the summer months here. You are getting kind of into the last lap here of this election. And you need to, start building out those resources and certainly knowing who your nominee is. And so if this goes smoothly, I think as President Biden is hoping that it does, that makes that question easier for Democrats.
You guys will correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the last open convention for the Democrats was 1968 and in Chicago, ironically. If this goes to that point, and throughout the Sunday shows, Joe Manchin, the now independent senator who caucuses with the Democrats, said he would favor an open primary. Do the Democrats need a convention fight right now?
No, I mean, the last thing, they need a fight with like a hole in their head with the way the last 3 weeks have gone. I mean, they need to unite behind Vice President Harris. Look, privately, there's a lot of worry that she's not the best candidate, but there's no other option. I mean, the problem that the last 3 weeks has exposed not just has been about Biden's age and inability to perhaps do the job, but it's about the divisions that are run rampant within the party. I mean, the reason Biden endorsed Harris and the reason that they probably are looking at the clock and seeing their convention less than a month away, they want to quickly unify behind a Harris ticket with maybe a more the governor, or someone maybe a little bit more moderate as her running mate. They want to get this behind them and not have nasty fights on the floor that would further cause problems in the general election.
Well, and to add to that point, Josh, and we talked a little bit about this over the last couple of weeks. Remember, they had always planned to do that roll call. The Democrats did before the actual convention. There was some concern about this August 7th date as it relates to Ohio and making sure that a Democratic nominee is on the ballot. I'll be curious to see if that sort of virtual roll call happens before the convention. Certainly that would help not have a chaotic, wild convention. But boy, if this becomes something where a lot of Democrats say, hold on a second, we don't know if it's Harris, I don't know how they're going to be able to logistically do that. Also worth noting that you mentioned that 68 Democratic convention. That one of the reasons that was so chaotic and so open is because the sitting president, Democrat Lyndon Johnson, decided not to run for re-election. And he did that after the primaries had already gotten underway.
Jared, let's talk about the delegate process, because it can get a little complicated here, or maybe not a little complicated, a lot complicated when we talk about which delegates go where, who allots them to whom. Talk about that.
So technically, Joe Biden has been the presumptive Democratic nominee. You are not the nominee until the roll call at the convention nominates you. The primaries and caucuses that he won in the Democratic system basically pledges delegates to a candidate in the first round. You need 3,896 that have been pledged to him. What likely is to happen is that he can't technically just give those delegates to somebody else. But what he can do is, as he steps out now, those delegates would be released. He would release those delegates. They are no longer bound to vote for the outcome of the primary or caucuses. His endorsement probably does go a long way in most of those delegates if they choose to back Harris and her to win that nomination. But again, that's kind of assuming another major Democrat doesn't step in and starts to make a play for those Democrats, those delegates who will be unbound. There are super delegates as well, ones that can decide whoever they want to vote for, their party leaders, their elected officials. They are not bound by any sort of primary, any sort of caucus result. The fact that he announced the same time that he had an endorsement for his vice president probably does go a long way in maybe, pushing those delegates to that type of process.
Josh, with the jury still being somewhat out on Vice President Harris as a nominee, will whom she may pick as a running mate have some kind of bearing on that? Names I've heard: Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania. Could that be a factor in who comes into the fold in supporting Kamala Harris as the nominee?
Yeah, I think the running mate selection in this case would carry a whole lot of weight, even more than a typical presidential selection. Look, Harris is seen as a notch to the left of Joe Biden, so picking someone who's a little more moderate could give reassurance to the voters worried about sort of her ideological disposition. Look, Gretchen Whitmer, two women on the same ticket, representing the key battleground state of Michigan as well. I think there's some interesting dynamic there. I tend to think it would be sort of a moderate white male governor as the pick. It makes the most sense politically. Governor Roy Cooper of North Carolina is close to Kamala Harris. And I think that's a name to watch closely. Josh Shapiro, who is one of the most popular governors in America and from the other key swing state of Pennsylvania. Another name that I think would make a lot of sense, at least for Kamala Harris, to consider closely. And Andy Beshear is one of the few red state Democratic governors and has sort of from a very storied family in the state of Kentucky. He's not too far from where J.D. Vance lives in Ohio. That would be an interesting sort of Appalachian-style vice presidential debate if that came to that point. So, I think those three make the most sense. But I do think that, having someone moderate, having someone who can reassure some of the older Biden voters who are more Biden than Harris type voters that Harris would govern it in a more pragmatic fashion, I think would be an important signal for the Democrats.
There's going to be a lot to say about this over the next week or so, and even longer. But I will read this to both of you, and I want to get your reactions on the other side. This is former President Trump's reaction on his Truth Social site. And he writes, "Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve and never was. He only attained the position of president by lies, fake news, and not leaving his basement." Now, when we talk about lowering the temperature of politics, which both of these candidates said should happen, and we see this turns back to politics as usual as we have seen it.
Well, I think on the question of whether or not President Biden should continue serving as president, that is a question that is being asked by a lot of Republicans. We've already seen top flight Republicans, including the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, say if he's not fit enough to run, he's not fit enough to serve. That is going to be a question, no doubt, that the president, that the White House, the administration will have to answer. Now, that being said, there are an awful lot of politicians, not at the presidential level, but members of Congress, governors, others, who decide not to run for re-election when they're eligible to and still serve out their term. But given that so much of this was kind of focused on mental acuity, fitness, all of those questions. That is a question I think that is going to have to be answered in some form by this White House. How the president feels he's able to continue serving as president while not being able to run for re-election.
Josh, your reaction?
Yeah, well, my big picture reaction is that this is going to be one of the ugliest campaigns. For all the talk of positivity and unity we heard occasionally at the Republican convention. Trump and Harris, once this race gets settled, is I think going to be ugly. The insults that Trump is going to level, I think, are going to get fiercer and fiercer. And there's an unmistakable racial gender divide that I think is going to. That we see this in America, the public divide among men and women. Among racial lines, I think it's going to be there's going to be a lot of division over the next few months, unfortunately.
Fox News political anchor and White House correspondent Jared Halpern, Fox News analyst and contributor Josh Kraushaar. Thanks for joining us on the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL on 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If SelectQuote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-403-5050. That's 1-800-403-5050. 1-800-403-5050. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com on the next.
Larry Connors, USA.
The investigations are ramping up. What was the Secret Service failing to do to protect Donald Trump?
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Are you tired of establishment politics? Meet Adam Schnelting, your true conservative choice for state senate. Adam Schnelting, husband, father, soldier, and member of the House Freedom Caucus. Adam authored the legislation that ended abortion in Missouri and is the grassroots candidate Jefferson City fears. Unlike his opponent Phil Cristofanelli, who's backed by lobbyists and Democrats, Adam's support comes from right here in St. Charles County. It's time for real conservative leadership. Vote Adam Schnelting for state senate.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John Royal, Treasurer.
How are your windows doing this summer? Are they keeping the hot air out, keeping the cool air in? If you have any doubts at all, once you get a hold of Window World, simply the best for less. Give them a call today, 314-993-1800. Tim Jones here to tell you how awesome Window World is, one of only 2 window companies in the entire country that carry the coveted Good Housekeeping seal of approval. They've got a lifetime warranty, covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor, a double strength of glass, incredibly thermally efficient, for the first time ever, offering 0% financing plans up to 36 months. 314-993-1800. 314-993-1800. WindowWorld.com. WindowWorld.com.
Legends of Country Rock. With Pure Prairie League. Atlanta Rhythm Section. Richie Furay from Poco and Buffalo Springfield. And Firefall. Saturday, September 28th, the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Legends of Country Rock live.
Blue Oyster Cult is back live. Friday, October 4th at the Family Arena. With special guests, Tommy DiCarlo, a former lead singer of Boston, and Jason Sheff, longtime lead singer of Chicago. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. Blue Oyster Cult.
The left, for months now,
One by one,
have been begging for a civil war.
every caller gets their say.
We got to stop and not put these officers in situations where they feel like they have to overreact.
And whether you agree
We have to assume some responsibility because I'm a black man.
or disagree,
I think you're politically wrong.
I do not need athletes to tell me.
you're invited to join the conversation.
Thank you for canceling all your games. Now I get it.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Setup couldn't be easier because everything's ready to go in the app. Just say,
Alexa, play news from Fox.
In Fox News.
it's the latest when you need it on demand from Fox News and Amazon Alexa. A look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Monday, July 22nd. This is the Fox News Rundown. President Biden at his home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, with no public events today. This after dropping out of the race for the White House yesterday, a move that saw him endorse Vice President Kamala Harris for the job. He'll address the nation later this week. Congress getting ready for a week of bombshell hearings.
The director of the Secret Service will appear before Congress for the first time since the assassination attempt on former President Trump. Several Republicans are calling on Kimberly Cheadle to resign, but she so far resisted calls to do so. Congress is trying to learn details surrounding what many believe was a security failure leading to the shooting. This week, FBI Director Christopher Wray will also be testifying on Capitol Hill as the FBI continues to investigate the shooting. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas says he's appointing a bipartisan independent panel to review the assassination attempt on former President Trump. The panel will have 45 days to review the policies of the Secret Service before, during, and after the rally on July 13th. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington, D.C. today, where he will address the nation's capital in a speech before a joint session of Congress. I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Monday, we'll be all recovered from a fabulous Republican National Convention. Rob Bluey from the Daily Signal was there. We'll get his take from an insider's view at 9:05 on Monday.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Caring for a loved one is stressful. It's an emotional time, and we want our loved ones to get the quality of care they deserve. But the cost of long-term care is expensive. In the St. Louis area, it could be $60,000, $70,000, or even over $100,000. Can your savings handle this added expense? Fortunately, News Talk STL listeners have an expert right here. Financial strategist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management shows families tax-efficient strategies to fund care needs. Whether planning in advance, have health concerns, or living in a care community today, solutions exist to fund the quality of care you deserve.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my new book. You'll learn about strategies to empower you and your family, protect your savings, and make sure your loved ones get the quality of care they deserve.
Visit SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Looking to get a new carpet, hardwood, or tile installed quickly and efficiently in your home? Look no further than Michael's Flooring Outlet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a family-owned and operated business with a 30-year history of offering a diverse array of high-quality options in flooring. My parents and in-laws used Michael's to rip up their old carpet and replace it. They are both happy with the product and installation from Michael's. You can shop at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, or St. Peters, or you can check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
I want you to know that McGuire Moving and Storage is silver certified, which means McGuire has a quality reputation helping older adults move local or long distance. And something else to know, Josh McGuire, president of McGuire Moving and Storage, is the only certified moving consultant in Missouri. I'll tell you, once you met Josh, you're going to know your move will be easy. And I fully endorse McGuire Moving and Storage. McGuireMoving.com.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peters location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare with an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. On this Monday, the Democratic Party in disarray, as you probably know, now that Joe Biden is pretty much done. And the party itself did not want that to happen, but the polling is so devastating that the party chieftains, led by Barack Obama, he is still the most powerful Democrat in the country, have said to Joe, look, you can't win. You've got to retire. Now, Kamala Harris will be the replacement because the campaign money the Democrats have, more than $200 million, cannot go to anyone other than Vice President Harris. So they'd have to start from scratch fundraising to buy all the TV time, to staff and pay their offices around the country. That's impossible. So Kamala Harris will be Trump's opponent. Now, even if the Democrats believe that Harris is a weak opponent, they don't have a choice because they can't dismiss a woman of color. And Kamala Harris wants the opportunity to be president. Make no mistake about that. So the country is in flux. On we go. Unbelievably intense historical time, whether you are an independent, a Republican, or a Democrat. I anticipated this would happen, as you know, if you listened to my broadcast, but few others did. Back in a moment. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You'll notice the humidity a little bit more today. It's on the rise for the next couple of days. Temperatures still sitting comfortable and below normal for this time of year. A high of 85 degrees. Where we should be at is 90. I'm not forecasting temperatures to be close to the 90s until Tuesday and Wednesday, so turning a touch hotter. Now watch this afternoon. Some heat-driven storms are possible, but those will quickly disperse after sunset. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
I heard the call to serve, so I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging, an unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
Every day, something new.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Take a look at what happened.
In Butler, Pennsylvania, where former President Trump was speaking on the stage.
Obviously, they're trying to do something to take Donald Trump down.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence.
Verbatim from Trump's Truth Social, it is incredible that such an act can take place in our country.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Hey, this is Carl Higbee, host of Frontline on Newsmax TV, and you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I don't know what else we could throw at voters for this election cycle.
Well, we knew it was going to be chaotic.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go through this a couple times today. I mean, the fact of the matter is that, very few people listen for 3.5 hours. And if you do listen for 3.5 hours, I'm going to tell you where I'm going to go to lunch and let's meet up. Okay, so here's where we're at now. Obviously, you've heard the news. Joe Biden says, I'm not running after all. Stepping down, he says he's going to address the nation sometime this week. We'll see what that is, if it happens at all. I don't know. But now what's happened is all of the delegates for the Democratic primaries and caucuses, which basically were essentially, in some states, they didn't even have it. They just said, nope, he gets all the delegates nominations. They didn't even have a primary in some states. So I don't know how much more you can rig something other than that. So now all of those delegates have been released, and the Democratic Party likes their super delegates just in case somebody gets too close to, the establishment pick, and then they can make sure that they can nominate who they want. And within hours, there was a carousel of endorsements and who's in and who's out. And essentially, you've got Joe Biden and his, I guess, wing of the party saying Vice President Kamala Harris is the pick. This is the candidate. Just get behind her and go. And there's a whole lot of other Democrats out there going, yeah, let's talk about that.
You know, it's funny. We went from riding with Biden to, well, I guess we're not riding with Biden.
No. We're broken down on the side of the road at this point. By the way, I'm Mike. That's Stell. It is 5:40 right now. We're going to do the morning news dump here in about 6 minutes or so. Okay, so 314-912-1019. All sorts of names were getting thrown out right away as to who would be another candidate. Gavin Newsom says, not me, not it. Hillary Clinton says, not me, not it. The governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, says, nope, I'm endorsing Kamala Harris. Now, some of those may be angling for a vice presidential pick, but there are plenty of reasons why some top names or some future big names for the Democrats may be avoiding this particular race. I've got a few, not just theories, they're actually just some realities when it comes to like the money and everything, the campaign funds, everything, because there's only so many different ways they can legally spend that money out there. So what we have here is a situation where the Democrats now have absolutely no nominee. They're heading into their upcoming convention here in a couple weeks, I guess.
Well, actually, a month.
About a month. So,
because I've been telling people since January, you better circle August 22nd on your calendar in Chicago, because that's what it's going to come down to.
And here's how this works. All that matters for the nominee is how the delegates vote at that convention. So if they've got a month, then it is possible that they could all come to an agreement, but it won't actually be set in stone until that convention. Compare that to the Republicans' convention. Okay. Everybody knew who the nominee was going to be because Donald Trump had won all the delegates. He'd won the primaries. He'd won the caucuses. They were his. There was nothing anybody could do. He had all of the delegate votes that he needed to win, and that's the way it was. Everybody knew coming in what the plan was. There's no plan right now for the Democrats. Those delegates can vote for whomever they want. So anybody can throw their name in the ring there, throw their hat in the ring, and say, I'm in, and start talking to those delegates. And if you are a Democratic delegate, and I suspect there's probably a few listening to us right now, you're about to get a whole bunch of phone calls, a whole bunch of text messages, a whole bunch of emails, whole bunch of offers to go out to lunch or to go get a drink, whole lot of stuff in the mail. You're about to get a lot of lobbying. So, for instance, there's a report now that Joe Manchin may turn around and re-register as a Democrat.
Yes, that has come up within the last 24 hours.
Here's one thing. If you are a Republican, aren't you happy that the Democrats and the fringe left run off people like Joe Manchin and Tulsi Gabbard? Because if either of those or both of those teamed up and they were on a ticket, I'm telling you right now, they'd probably win in a landslide.
That'd be a strong ticket.
Oh, I don't think there's anybody on the Republican side right now, this election cycle, who could beat them. But the fringe left won't tolerate them. They're too close to the center. And Tulsi Gabbard's pretty darn liberal. She just happens to have a different, little more common sense foreign policy. But on the other stuff, she's big government. She's very, very on the left. Joe Manchin may be the last centrist Democrat who was out there. So rest assured, though, the Democratic Party will not be smart enough to nominate somebody like that.
Mark Kelly's another name that's come up from Arizona.
I saw his name come up on the possible vice presidential list. I did see his name on that. And I saw a bunch of others as well. So we're going to kind of get and compare notes later on today. Chris Arps is going to be with us because he loves, this is his world. This is
the World Series for him.
Yeah, this is, he gets in there and he's saying, all right, what are the possibilities of this outcome, of this campaign, of this? Who should the Republicans worry about, if anybody? Who should they not worry about, if any? Essentially, the Democrats right now are deciding, are we going to put up a fight this year? Because with Joe Biden, they had basically accepted that they were not putting up a fight with Joe Biden. And up and down the line, his campaign was a big, giant weight. It was like handing Wile E. Coyote the anvil in the cartoon. He's off the cliff. He's looking at it. He's in the air. Then he goes, uh-oh. And then he gets crashed to the ground.
That's what Joe Biden's presidential reelection campaign was going to be for the Democrats. Now, if they get somebody who's newer, who's exciting to younger voters, who's got a better campaign, their chances of winning the White House probably less than 50% right now, I would say. But could that save some House seats? Could that save some Senate seats? Could that save some governor's races? Could that save some state legislative races because of the impact that the presidential race has up down the line? Yes, if they pick a strong enough candidate.
I have no doubt that those folks further down the ticket
Mhm.
were the ones that really influenced the decision
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Because John Tester and some of the others who made comments over the last few days, hey, we're going to get killed down here
Mhm.
if this ticket stays the way it is.
And he's one of them is most at risk. And he's definitely on the left, but he's not on the fringe left.
No, he's not.
As well. So, but it is interesting right now. You're seeing the fringe left really, and not just the fringe left, but you're looking at some of basically a lot of the mainstream Democrats as well. They are circling the wagons around Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
There's a variety of reasons for that. Is she going to get the nomination? I don't know at this point. It is less than 24 hours after we got this news. I don't know the answer to that.
One thing we're going to hear a lot of over the next 2 to 3 weeks is, hey, take a history lesson and go back and look at 1968.
Yep.
And see what happened then with Hubert Humphrey.
Mhm.
And I think it was Ed Muskie, who was the vice presidential
Mhm.
candidate from Maine. And the chaos that the
goodness.
Democratic Party was in, and the chaos that happened on the streets in Chicago. Will that happen again? I don't know. But again, I got it circled on my calendar since January. So keep an eye on that week in August.
Okay, so here's a trivia question for you. Who was the last Democratic president to not run for re-election?
Well, I guess would it not be Lyndon Baines Johnson?
It was Lyndon Baines Johnson. Yep. That's the last time a Democrat said, I will not run for re-election.
And that led into the Democratic convention in 68.
Yep, exactly. All right, 314-912-1019. Hey, by the way, if you got Twitter up right now, look up at AVP Radio Show. All right, that's me. I've got a poll up right now, and just a little bit over 2 hours left to vote in it. Do you think Joe Biden is going to finish his term as president? So vote in that. And at 8:05 Central Time, I've got the results of that poll, but you can vote in it right now. So look it up, AVP Radio Show.
Because that would give him 6 months still in office until January 20th.
And with a guy who's got nothing to lose, what could he do in that 6 months?
Oh, Hunter may be looking forward to that.
Oh, I would think so.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I want to ask that question to Rick Manning from Americans for Limited Government at 6:35 as well. All right. Morning news dump coming your way here in about 2.5 minutes.
She will collect you with the carnal stare while you're suspended there.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Time. She'll sabotage your mind, transforms your taste and clouds your
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
Severs JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. The choice is yours to take 5 on one of these great offers. Take 0% financing for 5 years or take up to a $5,500 cash rebate and 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details. These offers are for a limited time, so head to your nearest Severs JCB and check out their full line of JCB construction equipment or visit seversjcb.com.
Come celebrate International Tiger Day with the big cats at Crown Ridge Tiger Sanctuary. Saturday, July 27th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Enjoy a fun-filled day with our special felines. Meet a tiger keeper, lots of kids' activities, vendors, food, and so much more. International Tiger Day, a fun event for the whole family. Tickets are $10 per person. Kids 3 and under get in free. All proceeds go to taking care of our rescued big cats. For more info, visit crownridgetigers.com.
Are you a St. Louis small business owner looking to boost your brand? Blue Ocean Media Group offers affordable video production that packs a punch. From social media content to branded promotional clips, we'll help you stand out in the digital crowd. Professional quality, small business prices. Let's tell your story together. Learn more at blueomg.com. That's blueomg.com. Blue Ocean Media. Big impact videos for small business budgets.
Man, I loved playing high school sports growing up. And it's fun being a fan now, don't get me wrong, but sitting in the stands feels like I'm missing out on all the action, you know? I wanted to get back in the game. So I signed up to be a high school official. It takes me back to my playing days. I'm supporting students, and I get paid to make the big calls. Do you want to see the game up close? Sign up to become an official in Missouri at highschoolofficials.com.
The Missouri Army National Guard can help you get the education you need to land the career you've always wanted. The Guard will pay up to 100% of your tuition for up to 39 credit hours per academic year at 90 colleges and tech schools across the state. You're eligible as soon as you enlist. Learn more about the many benefits that come with serving part-time in the Missouri Army National Guard. Visit NationalGuard.com today. Sponsored by the Missouri Army National Guard, aired by the Missouri Broadcasters Association and this station.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Dan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
On Rumble, Blues Nut says, good morning. The 2024 bingo card is getting weird. Yes, it is. Jeez.
Wonder what that middle square is.
Oh, my goodness. All right. One way or another, we will have a new president in 2025. That's the bottom line here. Also, the U.S. Secret Service is under the microscope in the halls of Congress today, and the Cardinals are off to a good start in the post-All-Star game part of the season. We'll get to all that here in the next minute or so. It is 5:52 right now on this Monday morning. I got my coffee going here. I didn't get much sleep last night. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So,
I didn't either, but I think your sleep was shorter than mine.
I had a ball game late last night. So the good news is we won. The bad news is I got almost no sleep as a result. Okay, President Biden deciding to step aside. He is dropping out. He has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. Florida Congressman Jared Moskowitz, that guy, Jared. Let's just call him Jared. Jared is a Democrat from Florida, and he likes the decision.
Republicans are going to try to make the same case against her they were making against Biden. Oh, it's the border. Oh, it's Israel. It's going to be the same playbook. Obviously, she is her own person.
Yeah. You know what, Jared? Yes, it is the border. One of the foreign policy issues is Israel. So you're darn right. That's exactly what it's going to be, because the Biden-Harris administration has been such an amazing, colossal failure on this and so many other things. She is going to have to try to defend the decisions that the administration made while she was vice president, even though she was not president. She stood up and speaking for all of it. She's going to have to defend it or throw their now elder statesman under the bus, which is how the Democratic Party is trying to circle the wagons around it.
And you can bet the GOP is going to zero in on all those facets.
They should.
Yes.
They absolutely should. All right. So Joe Biden may be passing the torch, as the congressman just said, but will Democrats let Kamala Harris actually run with it?
In her first public statement since Joe Biden dropped out of the 2024 race, the vice president said she is honored to have the president's endorsement, and her intention is to earn and win this nomination. Harris described Biden's decision as a selfless and patriotic act, putting the American people and the country above everything else, she said. Former President Clinton also endorsed Harris. However, former President Obama did not. He said Democrats will be creating a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. Greg Clugston, Washington.
And by the way, it takes basically a little over 1,900 Democrats at the Democratic National Convention to secure the nomination. Kamala Harris is about a quarter of the way there, based on the number of delegates who have publicly pledged their support for her. So she's starting with a 25% lead over anybody else who would decide to get in or, somehow at some point.
Another name that's jumping in is Gretchen Whitmer.
Yes.
And I can bet you donuts to $1 it's because Trump has gained a lead in Michigan.
Yep.
So they're thinking, hey, we got to get her in there somewhere on the ticket.
Yeah. It's all sorts of names on there. Who do you think it's going to be? Let me know. I'm watching the Rumble chat box. Gabe's here. Estelle's here. They're watching the other social media outlets, and 314-912-1019. That's how to get involved in the conversation. You remember when politics was boring, guys? I would love to go back to a little bit of boring here.
Yeah, I kind of miss boring.
Yeah.
I got more sleep during the boring.
Jeez. All right. Let's see here. Senator Josh Hawley responds to the news. He was on the Ingram angle on Fox.
At the end of the day, Republicans know who our candidate is, Donald Trump, who's not a puppet, and that's why he's going to win in November.
Okay, so that's where the Republicans basically are saying, and I'm hearing this from a lot of Republicans, is basically stay the course that we have set, which is pretty good strategy.
Yeah, we definitely need to zero in on, like you said earlier, the failures of this administration, and it shouldn't change too much. I do think it may take a lot to resist the temptation to pound her about her inability to speak intelligently on any subject whatsoever.
Because when she gives a speech, she makes the sentences, and speeches are made up of sentences. And when she does a sentence in a speech, there's a Venn diagram that shows the correlation between sentences and speech. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit later on here as well.
I have no idea what you just said.
That's the point. Okay, so in other news, and there is other news today, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle will testify before Congress today. And that is, of course, in response to last week's attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Cheadle facing intense scrutiny for the Secret Service's failure in that incident, and she's now facing an investigation by the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. Committee Chairman Mike Turner was on CBS's Face the Nation.
Their own timeline admits that 9 minutes before Donald Trump took the stage, that they were aware of a particular threat and still let Donald Trump take the stage. And then, as we also know from their own timeline, they didn't take a shot to take out the shooter until Donald Trump himself was shot.
Because truth matters.
Let's speak that truth.
Because understanding matters.
Let's break this down.
With all that's happening.
And it's happening a lot faster.
What matters most is...
the only question that matters here.
Are you informed?
Important issues that are facing this country.
Depend on us.
The latest events.
The information you need.
Here are the facts.
When you need it.
We always have great conversations.
You guys have a great radio station.
101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
On August 6th, your vote will shape our community's future. Introducing Representatives John Simmons and Kyle Marquardt, two candidates with starkly different records. John Simmons, a staunch conservative, has consistently cut taxes and defended parents' rights for education choice. He believes in limited government and safeguarding our privacy. Simmons even championed legislation to secure our elections, ensuring integrity at every step. In contrast, Kyle Marquardt voted to expand welfare and increase government spending, and also supported invasive, warrantless government drone searches. When it comes to protecting your rights and hard-earned money, the choice is clear. John Simmons is not just making promises, he's delivered real results. It's time to make your voice heard in the Republican primary. Vote John Simmons, the representative with the proven conservative voting record. Paid for by Nova PAC, James Murphy, Treasurer.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
This is the actual precedent set why Bernie Sanders cannot have a 32-hour work week.
The Department of Labor wishes to report that the workers of Fredonia are demanding shorter hours.
Very well, we'll give them shorter hours. We'll start by cutting their lunch hour to 20 minutes.
Where's Fredonia?
Oh, it's right.
Oh, here we go.
It's on the southern part of Gooberstan. Yeah. And of course, Rufus T. Firefly was the leader of Fredonia.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. President Biden has dropped out of the 2024 race for the White House and given his endorsement to Vice President Harris. The president also said he intends to serve out the remainder of his term in office, ignoring calls from leading Republicans to resign. Both presidential campaigns are scrambling after President Biden announced he's dropping out of the race.
For the Democrats, they have no time to spare if they hope to compete against an energized GOP. With their convention starting in 4 weeks, they must refocus an entire campaign apparatus around a new presidential ticket and organize the ground game to get out the vote. The Trump campaign faces its own challenge. After focusing its attacks on Joe Biden, the former president's team must adjust its strategy heading into the final 3.5 months of campaigning. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Donald Trump's campaign has spent weeks preparing for the possibility that Mr. Biden might exit the race, readying a bevy of attacks against Vice President Harris. It unleashed those ads as soon as Mr. Biden made his announcement Sunday. Many large corporations have teams that work to restore their computer systems after Friday's internet outage, but small businesses are having a much tougher time.
Major customers of Microsoft and CrowdStrike, they're getting big support. They have big IT budgets. But the smaller businesses that have these problems, they're kind of left on their own. So they're trying to improvise and do things to figure this out. But some are really struggling and seeing, financial implications of it.
Correspondent Ann Dinocencio reporting. The Israeli military has ordered the evacuation of part of an area in the Gaza Strip. It is designated as a humanitarian zone. On Wall Street, Dow futures are ahead by 67 points. NASDAQ futures are up more than 168. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What does it take for organizations to triumph? It takes trust. But trust is getting harder and harder to gain, which is why over 2,700 organizations display the ECFA seal. The ECFA seal gives your organization the third-party credibility that people are literally looking for. And in turn, an estimated 14 million givers support ECFA-accredited organizations. Let us help you maintain a trusted reputation as you reach the world for Christ. Visit ecfa.org/triumph to learn more.
Madame Giselle senses a change in your future.
Is it a promotion?
I see a door opening.
Ooh, to a corner office?
There's a creature. Beady eyes, lots of hair.
Is it my boss, Dave?
No, raccoons everywhere. Your RV door is open, and they're chewing everything.
Not a problem. I'm covered by Progressive. Do you see a bigger paycheck?
Customize your coverage with Progressive's pest damage protection and be prepared for the unexpected. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pest damage protection available for RVs less than 6 years old. $250.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You'll notice the humidity a little bit more today. It's on the rise for the next couple of days. Temperatures still sitting comfortable and below normal for this time of year. A high of 85 degrees. Where we should be at is 90. I'm not forecasting temperatures to be close to the 90s until Tuesday and Wednesday, so turning a touch hotter. Now watch this afternoon. Some heat-driven storms are possible, but those will quickly disperse after sunset. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
How would you like to go on a 5-star vacation for just $99? We're talking about the quality of a Westgate resort for $99. Not for one night, but for 3 fantastic nights at one of their luxurious destinations across the United States. And you'll even get a free $100 Visa gift card just for making a reservation. We've got some of the choicest destinations that you'll love in the United States that you can choose from for just $99 for a 3-night stay. Take your family, take a special loved one, but get away. Go on vacation with Westgate Resorts. Call now to make a reservation for just $99, and you get a free $100 Visa gift card. Call Westgate right now and book your vacation. Here's the number.
800-407-9204. 800-407-9204. 800-407-9204. That's 800-407-9204.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
This is your cousin. Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
All right, does Kamala Harris have a built-in advantage for the Democratic nomination? I don't mean just the president's endorsement. I'm talking about the money. Okay. Always, you don't just follow the money, you follow the incentives that come with the money.
Right.
So that's a big part. Don't think for a minute that is not a big part of the pressure that's being leveraged on Democratic delegates right now.
Absolutely.
All right. 314-912-1019, 606 right now. Gabe's here, Stell's here. I'm Mike. By the way, the first congressional hearing on the attempted assassination of Donald Trump happens today. Let's fit in a few minutes to talk about that. Say about 6:20, guys.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Because by the way, that's happening.
That little story there that just happened.
Little shindig that's happening in Washington, D.C. that otherwise is going to get drowned out by the president saying that he is not running for re-election, which is the first time that has happened since Lyndon Baines Johnson. I mean, you may have heard this, in historic recordings and documentaries, and still, you may actually remember when LBJ said this:
I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
Yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, okay, maybe the day before.
And Joe Biden says he's going to address the nation later this week. We don't have a day. We don't have a time. Honestly, I don't know how glued to the TV screen or the computer screen or the phone screen that people are going to be with this. I have a feeling people are going to move on from Joe Biden pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, I think they kind of have to, don't they?
Yeah.
Just to get the stink off him.
But I think the interest, I just don't think the interest in, oh my goodness, Joe Biden stepping away. Here's what the Democrats are going to have to do. And what you see them doing already is trying to paint him as a sympathetic elder statesman. Aren't we so appreciative of him? Be nice to the old man.
Right.
And so essentially what they're wanting Republicans to do and the Trump campaign to do is not continue to kick the Biden administration in the cojones, between now and election day.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird position because, while at the same time you have Kamala Harris, who is part of this administration, who should be answering for the administration itself, particularly on the areas where she was made czar or what have you. You also have this, I guess, element of it where you don't want to kick the puppy, right? Yeah,
right.
With Biden going down and because the references seem to be that his health is declining and there's all kinds of things wrapped up in that.
All kinds of stuff on that. Okay, so get this. There also may be a financial aspect of this as well. So here's the deal, is that the over $90 million that are in the Biden-Harris campaign coffers. Now, some reports say they could control upwards of $240 million, but there's at least $91 million in there. I've seen some reports say $96 million, but let's safely say $91 million that's already in that account because she's on the ticket, because that campaign and because that account and the donations went to the Biden-Harris campaign. She legally can spend that on her campaign.
Right.
She can do that. If somebody else is nominated by the Democratic Party, they cannot.
Right. Now, there is a means by which one campaign can contribute to another, right?
It can, but it's limited to the same couple $1,000 that everybody else is.
Okay.
Now, they could give a whole lot to the Democratic Party.
Okay.
But there's a limit to what the Democratic Party can spend directly on that campaign. Now, they can work around it in much of other ways.
PACs?
They can do the same limit to a PAC that the rest of us can.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So
that's a big deal.
So there's a massive financial incentive for Kamala Harris within the Democratic Party. Now, is that going to be enough to give her the shoe-in nomination? No, I don't think that it will.
Yeah.
But is that something that could be argued to a delegate to say, you want to put us $91 million in the hole right away with all this money sitting there that we could only use 30, 40 million of it. So that's one of the aspects that's happening with the horse trading right now.
Yeah.
All right. 314-912-1019. Scott, you're going to be up first today. What do you think? What's your reaction to all this, the situation? It's so
good
weird.
morning, gentlemen.
Hey there.
Well,
Good morning.
I find it humorous that you're talking about the money that they can't spend. These folks are lawless. They will spend it and then say, sue us. Right?
That could happen. Yeah.
Right? You're assuming honorable intentions, and you're talking like a conservative. That's if you just put those different goggles on. They're going to spend it. They'll say, sue us. Tough. The Republicans will, clear their throats, straighten their tie, and not worry about offending the Democrats. They don't want to do anything like that. I'm more interested in what they finally, what kind of financial golden parachute package Biden was able to negotiate.
And by Biden, you mean Jill Biden.
The President pro tem.
Scott, let me jump into Gabe's point. Listen, nursing homes are expensive. All right.
Right. Well, these ex-presidents are treated like royalty. Not that they shouldn't have protection, but when you monetize the presidency, I think they should have to pay for their Secret Service and all the goodies that come with it. Obama makes $100 million a year, and he still gets protection for a dime. I think it's disgusting. But I wonder if there's a Netflix package, something in the works, some kind of honoraria for speaking, though he won't be able to do it. A presidential library, and I'm going to make the suggestion first that it contain only plagiarized material.
Yeah.
That could fill up a library.
My guess, see, when you said presidential library, I'm like, that's what I was thinking. But yeah, probably, boards and, university things named after him and all of that sort of thing. Former presidents actually do get a pension for the rest of their life. And as Scotty's talking about, which you're absolutely right about, they get Secret Service protection for the rest of their life as well.
Things are the way they are now. If he's, again, these are not new ideas. Everything's just kind of happening all at once. If he is too infirm to run for the presidency, will they pull a 25th Amendment against him, get him out, and then have Kamala go in as an incumbent?
Okay, I am glad you brought that up because I want to get to that next as we go into the next. Scott, I appreciate you being on the program. Okay,
thank you, sir.
Do I think they're going to do a 25th Amendment? No. If they're going to get rid of Joe Biden out of the presidency, I think what they do is they say, you know what, he's physically not able to go on, long COVID, stroke, you name it, figure something out. Aneurysm, whatever it is, whatever you fill in the blank for. And then I think that he would be allowed to gracefully resign, give a comment and, make a video and make it seem like this is all voluntary. And then Kamala Harris, to Scotty's point, goes in as the incumbent president of the United States, as the 47th president of the United States. And don't think for a minute that doesn't make some kind of difference, especially in chaotic times. But I think the Democrats want to do everything they possibly can do to avoid the 25th Amendment invocation on that, because there are bills now being filed to resolutions, I should say, not bills. Congress can't force the vice president of the cabinet to do the 25th Amendment, but they could vote to either sustain or whatever. But I don't think they want the 25th Amendment. If you're a Democrat, Republicans definitely want it. But Democrats, you don't want it. If they're going to get rid of Joe Biden, Gabe, I think that they say, here's the exit plan. Scotty used the term golden parachute. Pretty good description there. Here's what we can set up for you. His library is going to be the greatest thing in Delaware.
Yeah, they're going to start with the dissertation by the last president of Harvard. But
President gay.
Yes. But one thing that I'm questioning is, and this is coming from the Democratic perspective here of identity politics, things like that. Is it more valuable for them to move the first Black woman president into position now and have her run as an incumbent and say, do you really want to kick out the first Black woman president?
Right.
Or is it more valuable for them to say, don't you want to be part of making history by voting for the and electing the first Black woman president? So I'm wondering which one of those is they're thinking is the most valuable.
My guess is that they would want her in that spot,
Mhm.
and then you can still elect her.
Right.
She could still be the first Black woman elected president.
Right.
But to have her in there is a much better leverage position from a campaign. They can't say re-elect her president.
Sure.
But technically she was elected vice president.
She was.
With the
Succession.
No, they cast the votes.
Oh,
electoral college.
With the electoral college.
Sorry,
Yes, that's right.
it's coffee. Hold on.
Yeah, hold on. Your daily dose of
my daily dose of
white supremacy.
Yeah, precisely. So that's my guess. But by the way, I've got that poll up at my Twitter account. I just reposted it, so it's at the top.
Yeah.
Just find me on Twitter, X, whatever, at AVP Radio Show. Do you think Joe Biden will complete his term as president? Vote in that term. If you could repost it yourself, that'd be great. And then I'm going to read the results in just under 2 hours right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Tony Colombo here, along with Tim Jones for Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Rodney and Jen are the #1 home selling team in the area, and I could say that from personal experience. They sold our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible, which put us in a great position as we tried to find our perfect new home. And with help from the Wallners, that's exactly what we did. Christine and I couldn't be happier with our experience working with Rodney and Jen Wallner. And Tim, the numbers speak for themselves.
That's right, Tony. Everybody knows the Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. And if you're looking to sell your home, right now they have so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the St. Louis region, you can put the Wallners experience and work ethic to work for you. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call Rodney and Jen Wallner now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning.
6:20, Susanna Hoffs, actually, technically.
It's a manic Monday.
It is a man, is it ever? Ooh. Like I said earlier, remember when politics was boring?
Yeah, it was just like, okay, all you wonks out there, just talk about your charts and whatnot, and be have your silly little fun doing that political gamesmanship. But right now, it's like it's gotten kind of crazy.
What is? I mean, like I mentioned, I had a ball game last night, and of course, when something like this happens, and then obviously last weekend when there was the assassination on Donald Trump, there's always the conversation, man, Mike, how you going to manage this on the air? And I said, right now with the news of Joe Biden stepping aside, not going to run for re-election, I said, it's just nuts right now. I said, these are, yes, I guess you could call it unprecedented because of the back-to-back events that are happening between the assassination attempt on Donald Trump and obviously Joe Biden deciding not to run for re-election. And I told one of my friends, one of my teammates, John, and I said the weirder it gets, the more that people dial in.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, here's the thing, and this is why it's a good thing that we have more people dialing in. And, we're seeing it right now. More people who are joining us on Rumble and Facebook and over the air and streaming and everything that goes with it is because we know that everything's off kilter right now.
Yeah.
We know something's not right. We know that these are weird times. We know this isn't normal. Politics is supposed to be a battle, a battle of words, a battle of ideas, a battle of work. Who's going to outwork each other? It's supposed to be rough. It's supposed to be bruising, figuratively speaking. But we know that there are aspects of this that we're not used to in this country. Is this the new normal? Maybe. I hope not. I would like to get back to boring.
Yes, please.
I mean, I really would. I would like to get back to precedented.
As opposed to unprecedented. We do keep breaking new ground, don't we?
Right. Now, here's the thing. The unprecedented, the breaking the new ground, all of this weird stuff. Hey, that's great for a talk show host.
Oh, sure.
It's great for pundits. It's great for social media influencers. It's great to get people worked up on this. But here's the thing. I'm more concerned about my country. I'm more concerned about my culture. I'm more concerned about my community and the instability that the establishment is raining down on us makes me worried for where we go from here.
Yeah, they seem to be cultivating the chaos right now. They're sowing it on many levels,
right?
And they're feeding as much as possible. And of course, they have the dutiful media that's going to trumpet it everywhere, and to make everyone feel as though their life is unbalanced, as though the future is so uncertain and on edge. And there's only so long that a public can kind of sustain that sort of feeling.
Okay, let's go back to this around 6:35. By the way, while most of the news attention is on the Democrats now scrambling to figure out what they're going to do next, the congressional investigation into the attempted assassination of Donald Trump actually begins today. And by the way, still ahead here, Joe Biden bragged about his accomplishments as president in his announcement on Sunday. I printed it up. I've got it right here. Let's examine those, shall we?
All right.
So 6:35, we're going to examine those with our friend Rick Manning from Americans for Limited Government. So going to go into the belly of the beast to get that. Okay, Representative James Comer was on Fox News yesterday, giving kind of a preview of what they're looking for regarding today's hearings that are going to examine the Secret Service failure of the when the attempted assassination of Donald Trump happened.
The American people have lots of questions and they deserve answers. And this hearing tomorrow will serve as the beginning of that process to get answers for the American people as to what went wrong with an agency that has a no-fail mission.
Yeah. And so Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle is going to testify before Congress at that hearing today. Of course, she's been, just crushed with intense scrutiny, as she should, because their standard, the Secret Service will tell you, is no fail. No fail.
Right.
As in 100% or we failed, which means you failed just over a week ago.
She checked off that DEI box.
Oh, yes.
Coming from Pepsi-Cola to running the Secret Service, boy, that's something that has to make people question what in the world's going on. And we're seeing companies across the country saying, no, this DEI stuff is not for us anymore. And they're backing off of it.
I want to get to that in just a minute because she and Secretary Mayorkas, That's what they were upset about, were the criticisms of the DEI thing.
Oh, that's what they're upset
That's
about.
what they put a statement out over the
wow.
weekend. So I definitely want to come back to that. I'm glad you brought that up, because I definitely want to come back to that. So here's the thing is, this is one of those areas where the Republicans and the Democrats, nobody has an incentive to try to brush this, kind of under the rug. Democrats have no incentive whatsoever to try to say this wasn't a big deal, or to say it's it's just a little technical, logistical malfunction, anything like that. Republicans and Democrats should be locking arms. They should be putting their arms around each other. They should be hugging. They should be creating a united front on this one thing, because guess what? We are going to have Republican presidents. We are going to have Democratic presidents in the future of this country. And this right now is something that they have every incentive to come up with a solution. Cheadle's career has got to be over.
Please.
I mean, and here's the thing is, it didn't have to be that way. She immediately came out and said, this was a failure. This stops with us. This was unacceptable. And I'm thinking, okay, they're saying the right things. And then it was, how dare you question our DEI?
Yeah. I mean, that slope truth is dangerous.
Right. Yeah. And the slope. Yeah, precisely. I mean, and it created a meme boom.
Absolutely.
Within hours.
Yes. Yeah. There's somebody who put, who's showed a picture of a disabled ramp going up the couple of stairs in front of their house. And then they said, what is it? Secret Service defense barrier.
My home is safe from the feds at this point. But then they started making excuses.
Mm-hmm. That's the problem.
And when people were saying, wait a minute, we don't have to be a law enforcement expert. We don't have to be a Secret Service expert. We don't have to be a military expert or a counterintelligence or a counter sniper expert to see that you had at least 3 people who were clearly out of their element, who had no idea what they were doing. What do they have in common? They're about 5'3" young women.
Mm-hmm.
And then people all of a sudden were saying, wait a minute, why were they there? Oh, wait a minute. The Secret Service director made a big deal out of saying diversity, equity, and inclusion is part of our culture. We're going to increase our diversity. We're going to increase our representation of having women in there. By the way, women make up 24% of the Secret Service, according to the Secret Service. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. There are all sorts of positions that women could kick ass at in the Secret Service. But when you've got a 6 foot, 3 foot protectee who's standing in broad daylight, a 5'3" person is not going to provide the cover, because part of what you sign up for when you're assigned there is that you will literally take a bullet for your protectee, no matter who that is.
You put your body in front of theirs.
Yes. And one of them, the one dark-haired Secret Service Barbie they had there, she eventually ran up there. You can see her in kind of that iconic picture of Donald Trump with his fist in the air and the blood on his face. And she comes up to about his sternum.
Yeah, at best.
Yeah. So, okay. And then people started criticizing, saying, wait a minute, are you putting people on the president's detail because you're worried about diversity?
Yeah.
And they're not answering the question. And then they put out a statement talking about how offended they are that people are slamming their DEI. Listen to this. This is what was a statement released by the United States Secret Service. These assertions are baseless and insulting every single day in communities big and small across our great country. Women are serving in federal, state, local, tribal, territorial, and campus law enforcement. They are highly trained and skilled professionals who risk their lives on the front lines for the safety and security of others. They are brave and selfless patriots who deserve our gratitude and respect. We in the United States Department of Homeland Security, the largest law enforcement organization in the federal government, sleep tight, everybody, will, with great pride, focus, and devotion to mission, continue to recruit, retain, and elevate women in our law enforcement ranks. Our department will be the better for it and our country more secure. Okay.
Yeah, that's a lie.
I don't argue that there are women who are doing law enforcement jobs, and lots of them, who are absolutely doing a great job with whatever it is they're specializing in. But the idea that saying, how dare you, this is insulting Your protectee just got freaking shot in the head.
Yeah.
He lost part of his ear. He was a half inch from death on national television.
Yeah, it's that last sentence that got my alarm bell ringing as to a lie. It's like, oh well, because of DEI, and this is the same line we see everywhere else. Because of DEI, X will be better.
Right.
Something will be, and we'll be better at executing our job. Will you though? Because what I saw was, first of all, you had somebody who was a DEI hire to begin with, coming out of PepsiCo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who says that, we got to get to 30% by 2030 or whatever of women in these positions. Yep. My focus is going to be on diversity and all that other stuff. And all the critics were saying, shouldn't operational capability be the primary thing? Because I think you're putting your mission at risk.
Right.
And she says, no, of course not. And then we come to find out that basically the most amateurish assassination attempt almost sees a win against our people in the dumbest way possible.
Mm-hmm.
You have no leg to stand on here, ma'am.
Precisely. Listen, there are probably 1 million people in this country, probably a million people who are qualified to do forensic analysis of counterfeiting and money laundering. And some of the things that the Secret Service does, I don't care if it's a man or woman or black or white or anything like that.
Same.
But when you're talking about a protectee, the president, the vice president, ambassadors, the White House, get the best people, period. Forget about diversity. Get the best people. Diversity will take care of itself.
There it is.
And not only will they use that DEI deflection, but they'll also say, hey, there were other events going on that day. We had Joe Biden doing an event in Pennsylvania. We had Kamala Harris doing an event. We had to spread our people out. Doesn't matter. Sorry, you're running this whole division is yours to run correctly, and you screwed it up.
This is your job.
Mm-hmm.
End of story.
That's it.
All right, 314-912-1019. Our good friend Rick Manning from Americans for Limited Government going to be with us at about 6:35. I've got the statement that President Biden put out in saying he's not going to run. He lists his accomplishments. Let's talk about those and what we need to watch out for in the last however long he's got in office, 6 months or, well, not 6
or
months.
less.
5 months.
No, it is 6 months because today's
July
22nd.
Oh, yeah, before the actual
January
swearing
20th.
in. Yeah, I was thinking the election. 6 months in office or, I don't know, 2 weeks in office before he resigns. I don't know. But we'll talk to him about what we need to watch out for just ahead.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me vent here.
Live and local.
Way to be, guys. 1019 all the way.
This is News Talk STL.
I am home.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You'll notice the humidity a little bit more today. It's on the rise for the next couple of days. Temperatures still sitting comfortable and below normal for this time of year. A high of 85 degrees. Where we should be at is 90. I'm not forecasting temperatures to be close to the 90s until Tuesday and Wednesday, so turning a touch hotter. Now watch this afternoon. Some heat-driven storms are possible, but those will quickly disperse after sunset. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Attention homeowners and businesses. AMF Electric has been your trusted partner since 1985. For your home, our residential experts treat every project with the utmost care and importance. From simple repairs to complete renovations, we've got you covered. Businesses, our commercial team handles all types of construction with expertise and efficiency. Even clients from out of state request our top-notch services. Available 24/7. We're just a call away at 314-647-4066 or amfelectric.com.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
Columbo and Company.
On Monday, Susie Moore from RedState is my co-host, and we'll catch you up on all the latest news to start your week. Plus, we'll talk to Virginia Cruda from the Daily Wire at 2:20, and we'll talk AI with Mike McCleary from Intervine at 3:05.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Turn my back to the wind, catch my breath before I start off again.
All right, Democrats not only have to pick a new candidate, they're still going to have to backsell Joe Biden's time in office as something other than a complete and utter disaster.
Yeah, good luck with that, guys.
Now, listen, I know there may be somebody who says, oh, no, they don't. They just got to wear it. No. They need to backsell him.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to try to preserve their Democratic brand and whoever they pick, give them a fighting chance at all, they've got to backsell this. So let's not forget what the Biden-Harris administration has done to us. Or I guess if you're on the far left, for us.
Uh-huh.
Because he made a list in his statement.
He did.
So we're going to compare notes. The statement that President Biden put out versus reality.
Yeah.
All right. Check out my Twitter account, everybody, at AVP Radio Show. In just under 90 minutes, I'm going to read the results of a poll that I put up there. It's a very simple question. Do you think Joe Biden is going to finish his term as president? And I just left it at that because there are some people that say he will resign, other people that will say he's going to get 25th Amendment or some other way of getting him out of there before his term is over. Regardless of what you think is going to happen one way or the other, do you think he's going to finish his term? So go to at AVP Radio Show. Please vote. And share that, and then I'm going to read the results at 8:05 Central Time.
All righty.
All right, joined now by Rick Manning from Americans for Limited Government. Rick, appreciate you being back on the program. I want to go through, I want to talk to you about two different things. I want to go through the Biden administration's or Joe Biden's claims of all they've accomplished for it, and then assuming that he stays in office for the next 6 months, what do we have to worry about him trying to get done when he's got nothing else to lose? But I want to start with this statement letter that he put out. But by the way, good morning. Thanks for being on the show.
Good morning. It's been quite a week.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's been a just nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get back to boring and precedented as opposed to what we're doing right now in unprecedented.
Crazy and unprecedented.
I get that, but it's, July can be kind of a dead time in radio. And so this is keeping us on our toes.
That's definitely
true.
First, let me get your just overall general reaction. I think most of us went into the weekend thinking that this was going to happen. If I were a betting man, I was going to bet on this announcement coming on Sunday because that's frankly the reporting that we're getting. But when you actually heard the news, Joe Biden says, I'm not running for re-election. What was your gut reaction to that?
I want to bet with Robert in my office.
Romano, come on, pay up, dude.
Yeah, he was dogging me on it on Friday. My reaction was, I think like a lot of people, I was, while expecting it, I was still stunned, and because it's so brazen, it's such a brazen thing to do. We saw the Democrat elites, Obama and all those, team up with the billionaires to drive a president of the United States who wanted to continue running out of the presidential campaign. I've never seen anything like it. And by the way, all under the guise of democracy. It is the most brazen coup I think we've ever seen because it's a slow moving coup, and they don't want us to call it that, but that's what it is. And and what you should watch, just from a practical perspective, is who's endorsing who and who's not endorsing anybody. Because if you believe, as I do, that Barack Obama had a huge role in mobilizing billionaires and the like, and getting people to come out and say, Joe, you really got to go. If you believe, like I do, that he played a big role in that behind the scenes, then, bet on whoever that guy is endorsing, rather than worrying about who the Clintons endorse or anybody who really wasn't part of this. There's one player in this coup, and it's Barack Obama, and so pay attention to what he says, because that's what matters.
Good morning, Rick. Stal Ponticus here. I want to piggyback on your thought there because I'm old enough to remember what happened back in the days of the USSR, and you would have a leader go to his dacha on a weekend, to have a pleasant weekend, and all of a sudden he finds out from the Politburo, oh, by the way, you don't need to come back because we've replaced you. And we've got somebody else who's going to take over. That was the weird feeling I had yesterday. All of a sudden, I'm getting flashbacks to, the USSR back in the 50s and 60s when stuff like that went on. And I think you're right. It's a subtle coup. And you would mention that to people yesterday, and they go, "Oh no, that's not a coup." Well, sorry, from my perspective, it sure feels like it.
It's an involuntary change in government. Joe Biden lawfully won the primary to run for election next for another 4 years, and everybody's sitting there pretending like he's still mentally competent. So they can't say, well, he wasn't mentally competent to do it, because if they say that, then they have to deal with, well, then why is he still in there? How can he be president under those circumstances? So they don't want to deal with that. So consequently, they have to. So they've been saying the actual truth, that it's all about the polling. And he was getting his teeth kicked in. And so it's one thing to wheel Bernie around to all the parties, but if nobody else is coming to the parties, you leave Bernie in the basement. And that's kind of what happened to Joe.
Morning, Rick. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So I have two particular curiosities with this announcement. One being the manner in which it came out, where it's kind of usually you see these type of statements on White House letterhead.
Exactly, it was not letterhead,
and it comes through a larger or I won't say larger channel, but a different channel than, let's say, a post on Twitter. And of course, there are lots of people questioning the signature and everything. But even beyond that is the curiosity of the list of accomplishments that Biden has on there. Can you talk a little bit to either one of or both of those curiosities here?
Well, you'll have to give me his accomplishments, but in terms of the letter, you couldn't. It was not a presidential matter. It was a political matter.
Yes.
Hence, it had to be on a private station. Right. The thing that's odd about this, that it's irreconcilable, is this guy, he didn't make an announcement. I don't care if I know he's supposedly coughing from COVID and stuff, but he needed to get up and make an announcement and say something that basically takes him out of the race, to have basically a note put out, say, oh, by the way, I'm not running anymore. After fighting to keep running for the last, since the debate, is makes the Soviet coup kind of stay in your dock in Rehoboth Beach kind of approach much more, viable. It seems right. It sounds right, but but Joe Biden needed to get out and say, I'm not going to continue running for this reason. I have a great vice president who can carry the torch, and I'm handing that torch over to her to blah, blah, blah. And that's what he should have done. Instead, he put out a letter, and then without mentioning his vice president, without endorsing anybody. And then a little bit later, after everybody goes, wait a second, you didn't endorse Harris, they come out with something that says, oh, yeah, we endorse Harris too, which, it's as weak as you can get. And it shows that this was a coerced confession from days when hostages used to have to sign those kind of things. this is nothing more than a coerced confession that he signed under duress.
We're visiting with
If
Rick
he
Manning.
signed it at all.
Rick Manning from Americans for Limited Government. Okay, so here's a couple of things he listed: lowering prescription drug costs and expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. It doesn't say exactly what that means, but that's those are a couple of the accomplishments he started with. From Americans for Limited Government's perspective, Rick, respond to that.
Medicare drug costs are going up. They're going to go up about 50% next year. And that's directly because of Biden's pricing policies that are making drugs, at least for Medicare and Medicaid recipients, less available and more expensive. So he is flat out lying.
He also argues that in that statement, they passed the first gun safety law in 30 years. That's the bragging point that he put in there.
I don't know what he's talking about. But,
yeah.
I guess he must be talking about red flag laws, but I thought those passed actually under Trump. But no, I don't.
Right.
I'm befuddled by it, and I'm a former NRA lobbyist. So
yeah, okay. And then the other thing he listed in the letter is appointing the first Black woman to the U.S. Supreme Court. Obviously, Ketanji Brown Jackson,
who thinks that if we actually enforce the First Amendment, it could in fact get in the way of the government's ability to censor people's thought. Yeah, she's a brilliant person to claim.
Okay, so
sorry.
No, that's good. I was going to say, but the last minute or so I've got, Rick, is what should we be watching for now? Okay, so he's not running for re-election, but he's still got up to 6 months in office, assuming, just for the sake of argument, that he doesn't resign before that. What should we watch from a guy who's ended up being much farther left, I think, that a lot of us thought he was going to be? We knew he was going to be far left, but we didn't think he was going to be this far left. What do we have to watch for a guy who's frankly got nothing to lose at this point?
Well, they've already been doing it. They've been pushing through regulation after regulation that they're transforming our banking system. For instance, they're really pushing hard for a lot of regulatory change, and they're kind of all behind the scenes. But an example which they just got done was essentially requiring that local schools accept transgender kids and provide gender affirming care. That's one of the things they pushed through on Title IX a few weeks ago. Is that kind of radical stuff that's on a whole panoply of issues that our government reaches into that they probably shouldn't be reaching into at all. In terms of political, watch who's saying we need to have an open process. Keep those people in mind, because they are mouthing the words that Barack Obama started. And watch the people who say, I support Kamala. That's the split in the Democratic Party.
All right.
And watch that.
Rick, how do we get in touch? People want to sign up for the newsletter. What's the way to do it?
Sure. Go to dailytorch.com. That's dailytorch.com. Just subscribe. You get the free email and get our insights on this and a whole bunch of other issues, a lot more depth, and plus a lot of polling stuff that we put in there now. So I think it's got a lot of general interest, and people generally enjoy it.
Yep, I know I do. I'm subscribed to it. All right, Rick, it's great to talk to you. Just so you know, I do have word here that Joe Biden did make an announcement, but he did it at a Walmart over the. Here's what he had to say. It was really, really short.
Attention, my fellow Americans. I am out of this
bitch.
Okay. Well, I didn't think he could make it to a Walmart. I thought he was probably at the ice cream shop, but that's okay. It was National Ice Cream Day yesterday, so
it was.
As National Ice Cream Day, it was fitting that he would be making this announcement. But
it really was.
No, let's just be clear. It's sad that this is occurring, because you see some of these dreams being watched because of their age. It is really sad that they're not honest about it. And what's third is it's really sad they're implementing a plan they've had for 6 months to get him out of the way. And those are all things that make me sad, because it does fundamentally transform America.
All right, we'll talk to you again soon, Rick. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Rick.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, Stump, some news on you, including updates from around the political world reacting to Donald Trump's assassination attempt and the hearings that are going to start from that. And of course, Joe Biden saying, I'm out. Kamala is my candidate. Get behind her. Talk about that just ahead.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Come celebrate International Tiger Day with the big cats at Crown Ridge Tiger Sanctuary. Saturday, July 27th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Enjoy a fun-filled day with our special felines. Meet a tiger keeper, lots of kids' activities, vendors, food, and so much more. International Tiger Day, a fun event for the whole family. Tickets are $10 per person. Kids 3 and under get in free. All proceeds go to taking care of our rescued big cats. For more info, visit crownridgetigers.com.
Liberal mega donors are always looking for new rhinos to do their bidding. And with Adam Schnelting, they found their new star. Adam Schnelting has already backed their radical plan to defund our police. And he skipped countless important conservative votes. Skipped a vote to protect kids from sexually explicit materials in school. And skipped a vote to protect churches from junk lawsuits. It's no wonder Adam Schnelting is bankrolled by Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's top funders. Bill Cristofanelli is the only leader we can trust to protect our conservative priorities. When radicals tried to defund the police, Bill Cristofanelli passed record funding from Missouri's law enforcement. When Joe Biden left our southern border wide open, conservative Bill Cristofanelli banned sanctuary cities and voted to send Missouri National Guard troops to secure the border. Vote Bill Cristofanelli, the proven conservative, for state senate.
Gladius PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Gladius PAC, and is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Hey, Colombo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Say you don't know me. I recognize my face.
All right, one way or the other, we will have a new president in 2025. Also, the U.S. Secret Service under the microscope in the halls of Congress today. And the Cardinals are off to a good start in the post-All-Star game part of the season.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The morning news dump.
I'm sure you've heard the news, even if you're just joining us here today. President Biden saying, my campaign's over. Once this time in office as president is over, my career in politics is over. He is stepping aside. He has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. What happens with the rest of his term remains to be seen. Current Democratic Congressman from Florida, Jared Moskowitz. Did I say that right this time?
Yes, you did.
Moskowitz was on Fox's Democracy 2024 responding to that decision.
His dedication to public service his entire life, we may not see that again. And so obviously this is a passing of the torch to a new generation.
Okay, so that's what you're going to see a lot, Gabe, is the backselling of Joe Biden as patriot, as public servant, etc. They want to try to get to a point where it's just unacceptable to criticize Joe Biden, because that's part of backselling, because whoever this candidate is, whoever this nominee is, the Democrats pick, they are going to have to defend Biden. They're going to have to defend what the Democrats have been doing the last three and a half years.
It's kind of a morbid take, but it's almost like hey, don't speak ill of the dead sort of situation that they're trying to stoke here. It's like, hey, he's an elder statesman. He's done so much and all these other things. Well, we've seen what he's done. He has done a lot. I mean, we can absolutely be in agreement that what he did was unprecedented and in high volume. the quality of what he did, I think, is what's in question. He's now, according to his statement, he's going to speak to the nation later this week with more details about his decision. So I'm really curious what that's going to look like.
Yep. And Joe Biden may be passing the torch, as the congressman said, but will Democrats let Kamala Harris run with it?
In her first public statement since Joe Biden dropped out of the 2024 race, the vice president said she is honored to have the president's endorsement, and her intention is to earn and win this nomination. Harris described Biden's decision as a selfless and patriotic act, putting the American people and the country above everything else, she said. Former President Clinton also endorsed Harris. However, former President Obama did not. He said Democrats will be creating a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Barack Obama is among those who has not endorsed anybody. One of the top Democrats in the U.S. Senate, Dick Durbin, also not endorsing anything. What do those two gentlemen have in common?
A lot of money.
And they're both from Illinois.
Oh, yeah. That's a big deal, too.
What other name have we heard floated around?
J.B. Pritzker.
Yep.
And I believe he refrained from endorsing anybody, but he said, I'm going to fight to make sure Donald Trump doesn't win.
Exactly.
I think that's leaving a lot of doors open.
He is on a lot of Zoom calls and conference calls right now.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, probably literally as we speak. Okay. Senator Josh Hawley responds to the entire announcement on the Ingram angle.
At the end of the day, Republicans know who our candidate is, Donald Trump, who's not a puppet, and that's why he's going to win in November.
Okay, so where do we go from here? We're going to talk about that in a lot more depth around 7:20. By the way, 7:05, we've got State Senator Bill Eigel with us as well. I'm curious as what his reaction is going to be to this news as well. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle is going to testify before Congress today. And this, of course, is all about the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Cheadle facing intense scrutiny for the Secret Service's mishandling of that entire situation. And of course, she's now facing an investigation by the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. House Intelligence Committee Chair Mike Turner, who's a Republican out of Ohio, was on CBS's Face the Nation, and he is calling on Cheadle to be fired. He also revealed what the Secret Service told lawmakers in some of the briefings that they have already had about what happened at that rally in Pennsylvania.
Their own timeline admits that 9 minutes before Donald Trump took the stage, that they were aware of a particular threat and still let Donald Trump take the stage. And then, as we also know from their own timeline, they didn't take a shot to take out the shooter until Donald Trump himself was shot.
And once again, that starts later today.
It's so crazy, and we're talking about a very amateur hour attempt here,
completely
right? This wasn't not a sophisticated multi-point attack. This was amateur hour. They should have been able to deal with this.
20-year-old on a bicycle. All right, St. Louis's guaranteed basic income experiment shut down by a judge.
Ooh.
Yeah, late last week, the court issued a temporary restraining order against the program, which was paying selected families $500 per month from the city's reserves of ARPA funds, meaning the COVID money funds. Not only does the ruling stop those payments, it also orders the money already sent out to be returned to the city.
Oh, snap.
Which ain't going to happen.
No.
A group called the Holy Joe Society sued to block the program, saying it violates both the city charter and the state constitution. City Hall says they're going to fight it, but as of right now, they have stopped sending out the money.
They might be able to get that money back through tax.
Maybe. All right, the Cardinals win the first series after the All-Star break, taking 2 out of 3 against the Braves. I guess they were well rested since none of them actually played in the All-Star game. Final score in Atlanta was 6-2. The Redbirds begin a series in Pittsburgh tonight. First pitch is at 5:40 our time.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. Now that President Biden has dropped out of the 2024 race for the White House, the scramble is on to see who will replace him at the top of the Democratic presidential ticket on Election Day. Mr. Biden quickly endorsed Vice President Harris to take on GOP nominee Donald Trump and encouraged his party to unite behind her. The Senate's top Democrat is heaping praise on President Biden for deciding to end his re-election campaign.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling Joe Biden a true patriot. In a statement, Schumer calls Biden a great leader and legislator and describes him as an amazing human being. Schumer says it must have been a difficult decision for the president, but that, quote, he once again put his country, his party, and our future first. Sources say Schumer told Biden in a meeting on Saturday a majority of Democrat senators believed he could not win re-election. Bob Eigel reporting.
A wildfire in Salt Lake City has forced people living uphill from Utah State Capitol to evacuate. Salt Lake City Fire Department Division Chief Bob Silverthorne says the weather is a big factor in how the fire tracks.
We got, wind coming out of the south. Well, that's great, but also with the topography, it's kind of tricky and how the pressure, the barometric pressure changes. It also has an effect on where fire goes. But with the heat, as well as the wind direction and just the temperatures out here and the fuel moisture, it's kind of a recipe that we could have a quickly running fire.
The blaze on Ensign Peak remains uncontained. Airlines, including Delta Airlines, continue to struggle to restore operations 3 days after a faulty software update caused technological havoc worldwide and resulted in several carriers grounding flights. On Wall Street, Dow futures are ahead 52 points. NASDAQ futures are up by nearly 176. More on these stories at townhall.com.
They're Trump's most diehard fans in the front row at every Trump rally.
You had to love the United States of America. You had to support Mr. Donald Trump's re-election.
Trump's Front Row Joes is the new two-part documentary offering the first inside look at the men and women standing shoulder to shoulder with Trump in the greatest political movement in American history.
The kind of basis for all the rallies, there's like dead fans.
Like-minded people following their hero all around the country, exhausting their bank accounts, camping out for days in the freezing cold and scorching heat to support Trump's re-election and make America great again.
The Front Row Joes are very successful, incredible people.
Trump's Front Row Joes, from executive producer Sean Spicer, former White House press secretary and communications director for President Donald J. Trump.
Friendships I've made over the years as a Front Row Joe, it's probably the best part of it.
Don't miss Trump's Front Row Joes. Watch it now. Go to salemnow.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You'll notice the humidity a little bit more today. It's on the rise for the next couple of days. Temperatures still sitting comfortable and below normal for this time of year. A high of 85 degrees. Where we should be at is 90. I'm not forecasting temperatures to be close to the 90s until Tuesday and Wednesday, so turning a touch hotter. Now watch this afternoon. Some heat-driven storms are possible, but those will quickly disperse after sunset. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. With the average funeral bill being over $9,000, are your loved ones prepared? Call 314-866-8886 or memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Re-elect State Representative Tony Lavasco. Tony Lavasco eliminated licenses for home-based businesses. Tony Lavasco, rated 100% by the American Conservative Union. Tony Lavasco, the only candidate endorsed by Missouri Right to Life and by the NRA. Tony Lavasco, the only choice for small, limited government. On August 6th, vote Liberty. Vote Lavasco.
I'm Tony Lavasco, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Citizens for Lavasco. Dan Rakers, Treasurer.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right, the political headlines over the last few days include, of course, obviously, the president not running for re-election. We're going to dial back into that around 7:20.
Kind of a big deal.
Today's hearings to investigate the attempted assassination of Donald Trump.
Also kind of a big deal.
Yep. And who actually owns that big bus Missouri's lieutenant governor is riding around it.
Minor deal, but we're going to talk about it.
Not quite as big of a deal, but it's interesting.
Could be a big deal.
Could be a big deal, yeah.
7:06 right now.
China.
I'm Mike Ferguson. Well, yeah. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe here. Got Stell here. Now joined by State Senator Bill Eigel. Bill, let me start with obviously the big news of the day. We're less than 12 hours into the news at this point. I'm sorry, less than 24 hours. I guess we're at 36 hours in the news. That Joe Biden is not running for re-election. When you heard that news, what was your gut reaction to it?
About time. I mean, I feel like, and good morning, guys. Thanks for having me, but it's about time. I mean, we've known, I think Republicans have known for 4 years that Joe Biden was physically unfit to serve as the role of president. We certainly knew that he was unfit to run for another term. I'm not sure that he could physically survive another term. My concern was always of whether or not he could physically survive the pressures and rigors of being president of the United States in his first term. So he's taken a good step in the right direction by declaring that he's not going to run for re-election. But if he's not fit mentally and physically fit to run for another term, he's also not mentally and physically fit to serve in office right now. So I almost immediately called for his resignation. If he's ready to acknowledge that he can't do the job, then he ought to stop trying to do the job today, not wait for January before he steps aside. He needs to get out of the office today.
Morning, Bill. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So we've got the hearings going on later today with Secret Service Director Cheadle. We've had plenty of information come out before that, though. And what do you make of the whole situation in its totality?
That the security perimeter was handled so ineptly with so much negligence that it's hard not to believe it was done on purpose. I mean, sometimes the mess up, the screw up is so bad that it's hard to imagine that it just all happened by accident. I think that's what a lot of people are asking themselves right now. So I know that she's going to answer a few questions today in the hearing, but I don't expect to. I'd be stunned if she gives answers that are going to be any way, shape, or form acceptable. The reality is there was gross negligence at best, and there was intentional willingness to overlook security lapses at worst. So I just this just continues my lack of faith in a lot of these three-letter agencies up in the federal government. So we'll see what she has to say, but I don't have very high expectations.
We're visiting with State Senator Bill Eigel. Obviously, he's running for governor here as well. All right, let's talk about some of the issues here in the state, especially in the campaign right now. One of the things that some people, media, and a bunch of others are kind of trying to hit back at you regarding your platform issue, saying we're going to deport all of the illegal aliens in Missouri. They're saying there's no way the governor can do that. It's going to cost way too much money. It's just impractical. There's no way the state government, much less the governor himself, can do that. What's your response to that? Because that's kind of ramping up. You and I have talked about this before, and I've asked you about that before, but it just seems in the last week or so, Bill, that there's a lot more intense pushback on that particular thing.
Well, it's actually not so much the media saying that it can't be done. It's Mike Kehoe that's saying that it's foolish and impractical. Those are actually his words that he used to describe any plan to detain and deport the illegals in the state of Missouri. So, this isn't new, as you said, Mike, because, Donald Trump has been talking about his commitment to have a mass deportation of the illegals in this country. Joe Biden threw open the southern border. If you're not for deporting the illegals, you're for amnesty. There's only two worlds in which you can live. You either think that folks have broken immigration law ought to be deported back to where they came from, or you think that they can stay here, in which case you're for amnesty. I stand with Donald J. Trump. I'm going to declare an invasion under Article 4 of the Missouri Constitution on my first day in office. That's going to empower the Highway Patrol, the National Guard, every sheriff in this state to detain and deport those who are suspected of being here illegally. And we already know where they're at. I've spoken to not just law enforcement, but individuals in every corner of this state that have seen these illegals show up in their communities. We know exactly where they are. We know what's happening. We lack the authority to act. So all that's required to get the authority is a piece of paper from the governor declaring this for what it is, an invasion. And in spite of the relative simplicity of moving forward and implementing such a plan, you've got a guy like Mike Kehoe that doesn't want to do it. Mike Kehoe is for amnesty. He's out there saying, well, it's impractical. I don't have a list of where all these illegals are. This is foolish to do this. Of course he's saying those things. He is for amnesty. He believes the illegals ought to stay here. I have a huge contrast with Mike Kehoe on this topic. That's why Mike Kehoe doesn't want to show up to debate me on Wednesday of this week. He's afraid, and he knows that if he shows up, he's going to be found out to be exactly the Democrat that he's been in office for the past decade of his political career. And I'll tell you what, if he doesn't show up on Wednesday, because, we do have a debate coming up in about 48 hours, this guy, if he's not willing to answer a few questions about his record, he doesn't deserve a single vote from a single Republican in a single county of this state on August 6th. That's why I'm talking about making this state better. Let's go, Missouri.
All right, we're visiting with State Senator Bill Eigel. Okay, let me get into the politics of policy. If you're elected, or whoever is elected governor is going to have to try to get the herd of angry cats known as the Republican caucus actually pulling together to get conservative things done. We haven't had a lot of luck in that the last couple of years. In addition to setting the policy goals for the Republican Party, if you're elected, Bill, how do you get these factions back on the same page? Because some of them, frankly, are pretty mad at you right now.
Well, because I'm going to do what Mike Parson and Mike Kehoe haven't been doing for the past few years. I'm going to call on them to do Republican things. I mean, the reason the Republican Party is fractured right now is not that Bill Eigel is too mean to the status quo down in Jefferson City. The reason the party is fractured right now is that guys like Mike Parson and Mike Kehoe keep calling on Republicans to do non-Republican things. When Mike Kehoe and Mike Parson wanted to raise the gas tax, the largest tax increase in the history of the state, which they actually finally got done, that fractured the Republican Party because guys like me and folks all over the state that didn't sign up for this. When Kehoe and Parson have been doubling the size of the state budget, growing government, doing nothing to stop the COVID environment that came into the state of Missouri, it fractured the Republican Party because there's guys like me, there's Republicans in the legislature, there's Republicans all over Missouri that didn't sign up for that nonsense. When Mike Kehoe talks about that he's too afraid to deport the illegals in the state, that he doesn't want to cut personal property taxes, that he voted to sell the land, that our farmland, to China and any other foreign country up to 270,000 acres, that fractures the party. So when I come in the door and expect and call on those Republicans to do those Republican things, that's going to be a big change. And you can bet that I'm going to be holding accountable anybody that is saying they're a Republican in campaign season, but suddenly loses their nerve to do these things, whether it's defending the sovereignty of our state and deporting the illegals, whether it's cutting and eliminating personal property tax and income taxes. We're going to hold them accountable in front of the people. And the first thing I'm going to unite the party on, which my two opponents aren't even talking about right now, will happen before I even get into office. We're on August 7th. I'm going to unite the Republican Party by calling on every pro-life Republican in the state to go after and defeat the abortionists who are trying to put abortion back into our Constitution. We're going to get our first victory in November, 2 months before anybody gets sworn into office.
Speaking of China,
yes,
I want to just and we just got a minute or so left here, Bill. The headlines over the past few days that the bus that Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe is driving around in or riding around in for his campaign right now, actually owned by a lobbyist for a Chinese company on this. Looks like that's been confirmed. That's actually the case. Not the end all be all of all the big issues, but it is interesting that it caught some legs from the media perspective. And even, some of the mainstream media was covering this. What do you make of it?
Well, I mean, you can't really hide when you're a moderate and when you're really owned by these special interests. The truth is eventually going to come out. And, Mike Kehoe votes in 2013 to allow the sale of our farmland to China. And then that facilitates a deal where Smithfield Foods, one of our largest food producers in Missouri, ends up selling out to a Chinese conglomerate and selling 50,000 acres of Missouri farmland to this Chinese company. Fast forward to this summer, Mike Kehoe has now not only taken millions and millions of dollars from all these special interests, but the lobbyist that actually lobbies for that same company that bought all that acreage and is owned by the Chinese right now donates the bus that Mike Kehoe is driving around the state right now, having actual Missourians sign. So Mike Kehoe's having Missourians sign his bus with a pen to show their support for Kehoe, but they're signing the China bus. You can't make this stuff up. Mike Kehoe is owned by those special interests. The only way he becomes the governor of the state of Missouri is if policy simply no longer matters to Missouri Republicans. But what I'm hearing from actual Missouri Republicans all over the state is that policy is everything that will unite us. That's why I feel very good going into August 6th.
All right, let's go ahead and give out we've already tagged you on the social media as always, Bill. Go ahead and give out the website information, and I suspect we'll be talking to you again at some point soon.
BillEigel.com. It's a great way. It may be the best website you've ever seen, guys. The best website you've ever seen. BillEigel.com. You can go sign up to do everything from getting a sign from your yard to signing up to get our newsletter, or if you're so moved, give a donation to the cause. Our party of Plank of Ideas is on there. Check it out. BillEigel.com.
And he meant that completely objectively about it being the greatest website ever.
Yeah.
That's all right. Thanks, Bill. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, guys.
All right, 314-912-1019. With quite a debate going on in the Rumble chat box over Bill's campaign.
Channeling a little bit of Donald Trump there. It's like, it's the best website you've ever seen. It's a huge website. It's like, they tell me it's the best website. I don't say it's the best website, but they tell me it's the best.
All right, right around 7:20 here. We've got the media already trying to sell Kamala Harris as the presidential nominee of the Democratic Party. She's not the presidential nominee, at least not yet.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of Democrats aren't really wild about her. But let's talk about how we should be talking about her because she's the one in the spotlight at the moment. I found a really interesting take on Twitter over the weekend. I'm going to read it and let's see if you agree or disagree. Get ready to call me. 314-912-1019. I'll just tell you right now, behave yourself.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
What new chaos and crises did Joe Biden start over the weekend? We'll discuss at 4:25 with former U.S. Senator Jim Talent. Red State headlines at 5:25 with Susie Moore.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here. I'm with Eric from Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Eric, Newsteaders has been around since 1961. Tell us the story.
Well, Richard started this 62 years ago, and we've stayed a local family-owned store since then. We've actually got 3 generations of Newsteaders working in the store. Richard, his wife, his daughter, and his granddaughter, and we all love what we do. We're kind of a St. Louis family tradition, and we do a lot of unique and one-of-a-kind custom pieces, as well as repairs. There's there's basically nothing that we can't do. And all of our work is done on site. So you can feel secure knowing that your jewelry never leaves, which is unusual now. And we can computer generate images of custom pieces if you want to go custom. We can take that old jewelry that you're not wearing and we can turn that into something new that you absolutely love.
Newsteaders, a St. Louis jewelry tradition since 1961. Stop by and find out why. 2961 Daughtery Ferry Road or on the internet, wowdiamonds.com for Newsteaders. Fine jewelers.
Newstalk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on Newstalk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Attention voters. The truth about Phil Cristofanelli may surprise you.
As state representative, Phil was endorsed by Promo, a Democrat-led LGBTQIA+ organization with extreme views.
Promo pushes for sex changes for kids, males and girls sports and bathrooms, and teaching gender confusion in schools.
Phil's record speaks for itself.
He voted to allow boys and girls sports.
And pushed to teach sexual orientation and gender identity in public schools.
Is this the leadership we want? Think carefully when you vote.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John Royal, Treasurer.
Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler, along with daughter Sammy Tobler-Gregory, a team member here at our family-owned Body of Health Direct Primary Care Practice. Sammy, what are patients telling you about their experience at Body of Health?
I can't tell you how many patients I've had come to me and tell me they just so appreciate getting to sit across the table with their doctor and chat about whatever's going on with their healthcare needs for however long they need.
Want to learn more about healthcare the way it ought to be? Schedule a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
The tides are changing.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
The Democratic Party doesn't stand with what I stand for.
News Talk STL.
Hi, this is Kira Davis, and you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I've been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, Achilles and his gold, Achilles and his gifts.
Make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone. Make sure the kids hear words. But you gotta, we gotta reassure. Look, here, my message to everybody I talk to.
We have some breaking news as President Joe Biden has just announced that he is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race. Biden, not gonna miss you, no. Bye, Biden, hasta la vista, John. We know you were senile, even AOC could see. And though you said you weren't, your donors disagreed. Bye, Biden. It's time to pasture now.
Resolve the difference at the battle box. Now that's how we do it at the battle box.
Time to say goodbye.
Glad Ingrid Enders could find a gig there. All right.
That was Biden on Broadway. Wasn't it?
It was.
I was going to say that
right,
from Bye Bye Biden. Brought to you by Roger and Hammerstein.
That's right. All right. There's plenty to knock Kamala Harris about when it comes to her career, but should her questionable personal life be on the table? I just saw an interesting tweet over the weekend, and I actually printed it up, and I rarely do these, but I just thought it was interesting for the discussion. We'll get to that here in a second. 7:23 right now. So what's next for Democrats as they now have to come up with a plan, any plan, and a candidate for the election? So who are the candidates that should worry Republicans the most, if any? Our very own Chris Arps gives us his take on that around 7:35. But I'll ask that question on like Facebook comments and Rumble and all that. Are there any candidates that the Democrats have that you would legitimately be concerned about winning the election? Now, I'm not saying that you agree or disagree with them. I suspect you disagree, most people listening here, but are there any that objectively speaking you would worry about that this campaign? We'll do that around 7:35. Okay, so I saw this tweet by a guy named Dion Joseph, and I don't know who Dion Joseph is. He's got tens of thousands of followers, a heck of a lot more than I do.
Dean Joseph, I think it is.
No, it says Dion.
D-E-O-N?
Oh, it does say, you're right. You're right. It does say Dion.
So it's OFC R Dion Joseph. So Officer Dion Joseph, officer somewhere. I don't know where. And it was an interesting take on this. It says, I'm going to make my stance abundantly clear. I'm just reading his tweet here. I don't care who she slept with. I don't care about her laugh. I am not going to dehumanize her or disrespect her based on her personal life. Who doesn't have a past and she is grown? Don't care if she is too black for some and not black enough for others. My decision not to even consider her, meaning Kamala Harris, is based solely on the following. And then he lists 5 different specific policy points and political horrible things that she did, including she engages in race baiting and fear mongering, which lets me know she has zero solutions to many issues Americans are facing. She's farther to the left than Joe Biden. Goes on to talk about her behavior as Attorney General of California and the way that she had a really, under her leadership there was a lot of black Californians who were thrown in prison for stuff like it was really nonviolent for like marijuana. And he goes on to say, that's why I don't believe she's ready to lead and her politics will slide America further down the crapper. Not because she is a woman. I would gladly and without pause vote for a woman for president. Some of the greatest leaders I've ever worked for were women. Just can't vote for this one because of who she is, not her gender. And he goes on a little bit more.
Well, don't go on for just a second. One other prickly point.
Yeah.
The bail fund.
Right.
For the folks from 2020.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't even think he mentioned that.
That was the first one.
It's the first one.
Oh, yeah. They created a bail fund for rioters in 2020. Yep. That's right. That's right. Yep. And so
called it terrorism.
Yeah. So here's the thing. And you can look at the thing. Like, I have no idea who Dion Joseph is, but I thought it was interesting because we're seeing a lot of this now. Listen, when she says stupid crap and she does a word salad, like a word salad in a blender, I'm going to play the salad.
Well, absolutely.
I'm going to do it.
We did the same with Joe Biden, right? When he went off. Yeah.
I've done the same with Donald Trump.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I mean,
that's true.
I have. So here's the thing though, is when he says her well-known and questionable personal decisions, he says, I think we should not even talk about it.
Right.
Agree or disagree?
Well, I think smart money is to focus on her bad policy, her bad actions in government, because she's going for a government position. I don't think people are going to be able to let go of some of the aspects. Now, her laugh is obviously that's got to be part of it, because humor is a means by which you kind of can get under the skin of your opponents and things like that. Like we talked about the word salad stuff, making fun of that. Now, the personal stuff, I think
let's be honest, we're talking about the affair with Willie Brown.
Yes.
We're talking about, being Montel Williams' arm candy.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
That kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, my gut is just like, well, that's a questionable thing that I can get around because this is politics. It's a blood sport. But analyzing the situation, I think that would give the opposition fodder to simply call us sexist. It would just kind of be giving them more things to talk about rather than her record.
I think one of the issues is she's going to bring up the stuff regarding Trump and Trump's background in his life, his personal issues. Okay, if you're going to go there, then I think it's fair to flip it the other way and look at her personal stuff. Me personally, I don't care about it. The stuff you mentioned, Mike, the whole list of 5 issues, I'm totally on board with all of those. Those are.
You mean what Dion Joseph wrote?
Yes. Yeah. The stuff that he wrote, I totally agree. It's those are issues that we need to consider. And the other stuff in the past, okay, fine. I realize that went on.
By the way, Officer Dion Joseph is a law enforcement consultant who has worked for the LAPD for over 25 years.
Got it.
And
Okay.
and he wrote a book about stuff like that.
Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
Vicky on Rumble is kind of where you're coming from. Says, Mike, should Kamala's life be scrutinized? The Democrats do this to Trump. And if they can't find something to make it up, why not Kamala? Because we are too good for that, or because she is a woman? Okay. I don't know that we should or shouldn't. I think what we've got right now is let's assume for the sake of argument that Kamala Harris is the nominee for the Democrats.
Right.
Now, it may end up being somebody else, but let's just say for this, because she's the only one in the race right now for them. Let's say she's a nominee. You've got two people with horrible, immoral sexual pasts that are well known to everybody. So if one side's going to go after it, then they must expect that the other side's going to go after it. There is a double standard with the way women are looked at on that sort of thing. There's no question about that. But then the question is, if that's impactful and that's what it takes to win, do you do it, or do you say we're going to be above it, even if they aren't?
I don't think it's a matter of being above. I regard it as a strategic thing. You know, I don't like giving the enemies means by which to deflect from their weakest points. Like maybe put it that way. Right. I don't care about the attack. I don't care about them. They'd say, "Oh, you guys are sexist." I don't care that they're calling us sexist. They've been calling us sexist for decades. Yeah. But the thing is, it allows them to distract from the 5 points that Dion Joseph made here. Those are the ones that are going to get the people in the middle.
5 of the points.
5 of exactly.
I mean, look at every failure of the Biden-Harris administration. I mean, that's what I would start referring to. Every failure of Joe Biden, start referring to the Biden-Harris administration.
Yes.
On this, see, I don't think that Republicans need to go there.
They don't.
I mean, I just don't. I think there is so much incompetence. Remember, she didn't make it out of one primary. She got what 1.3%, if that even.
If that.
Yeah, I mean, so she didn't. Even Democrats didn't vote for her. And then when she tangled with Tulsi Gabbard, I almost felt bad for her.
Yeah, seriously.
Almost, I did, but almost. I was tempted to feel bad for her. Tulsi Gabbard just sliced and diced her ideologically.
I had that Simpsons meme in my head. Stop! She's already dead.
Yeah, exactly. So but he's arguing that forget about her sexual past that's been written about and talked about forever. Don't attack her on that. Attack her on what she's actually done in office.
Yeah,
I kind of agree.
Now, and my thinking is and let me make this clear. It's specifically strategic because again, we're talking about an electorate where or an election where the middle, that squishy middle, was at 80% essentially of people who are going to vote. They're going to be the ones who turn this election. So making sure that we appeal to them is the primary goal. That's the primary goal in winning elections. If I'm a consultant, I don't know much about the science of it, the political science of it, but I know that people in the middle don't like when you go after ladies about their sexual things. That's a thing. They don't like it.
Yep.
I don't care that they don't like it, but they don't like it.
Right. All right. 314-912-1019. Quite a discussion going on this about, and Rumble in particular on the chat box as well. Hey, don't forget to click on the like button while you're there, or on Facebook. Be sure to hit the like of our stream as well. Our very own Chris Arps is going to be with us in about 2.5 minutes. Are there any Democrats that Republicans, the Trump campaign, should be concerned about now that Joe Biden is out? Let's talk about that at 7:35.
I don't see myself up on that list, but she said, where'd you wanna go?
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Some superhero, some fairy tale bliss, just something I can turn to, somebody I can kiss. I want something just like this. Do, 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 do. Oh, I want something just like this.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You'll notice the humidity a little bit more today. It's on the rise for the next couple of days. Temperatures still sitting comfortable and below normal for this time of year. A high of 85 degrees. Where we should be at is 90. I'm not forecasting temperatures to be close to the 90s until Tuesday and Wednesday, so turning a touch hotter. Now watch this afternoon. Some heat-driven storms are possible, but those will quickly disperse after sunset. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Does your life insurance plan include living benefits, hearing, diabetic supplies, teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones? Larry Connors here. I suggest you call Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Call 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
This is Larry Connors' commentary on News Talk STL.
So Biden is out after insisting just last week, in his words, cut all the crap about me getting out of the race. And don't forget how he criticized the elites in his party trying to shove him aside. Pelosi publicly defended Biden, saying it's his choice, but behind closed doors, basically saying, Joe, it's your choice, but it will be our decision. California Congressman Schiff publicly calling for Biden to get off the ticket. Now, I'd previously suggested I didn't expect that September debate between Biden and Trump would ever happen. Now we know it won't. But the new question is, will Harris debate Trump? Can she afford not to debate him? That is assuming she doesn't get tossed overboard. If she can survive, who would be her VP? You can throw all the names you hear into a hat and blindly draw one, which is pretty much what Democrats will be doing. Yet they will insist this is the best candidate for VP, when they were also insisting Biden was best. You think Gavin Newsom and other power-hungry Democrats are going to go along simply to get along? No, the Democrat convention in August now could be an all-out cage match.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL. The latest news.
Former president was shot. Take a look at what happened.
Political violence of any kind or shape or form is unacceptable.
Judge Eileen Cannon has dismissed the classified documents case against Donald Trump.
The Republican National Committee be convened in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
He's got so many good choices that he can pick.
Party is now Trump's party.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Believe it or not, winter is not as far away as you would think. I know we're enjoying the nice cooler weather right now, but man, that those heat waves that we got, that was brutal. Now remember what it was like having those really cold temperatures, and don't you hate it when you walk by the front door, you walk by those windows and you feel that draft coming in. Well, if you feel that during the wintertime and that cold air coming in, understand that the air conditioning on the inside of your house is going out and it's costing you money. And that means it's time to upgrade your windows. And you should call my friends at Window World for that. Mike Ferguson here for Window World. They are simply the best for less. And you can call them at 314-993-1800. I always point out when they say simply the best for less, these windows are less expensive than even the generic ones. And they are double strength glass. The more expensive ones are single strength glass, single pane glass. In Window World, double the strength, less money involved here. So give them a call, 314-993-1800. Get more information, get that free in-home estimate, and of course, ask them about that lifetime warranty. This covers all parts, glass breakage, it covers labor. If something goes wrong with that window, which is probably not going to happen, they're going to come out, they're going to make it right, no cost to you. And as a matter of fact, that warranty can transfer to the next owner of your home when you sell it. So you can actually include that in the specs and in the brag sheet for your home because you've got high quality windows with a warranty. You don't have to assume that you have to replace windows every 10, 15, 20, 25 years. You can install it one time, save money up front, then make your home more energy efficient and never have to worry about that window again. You do that by working with my friends at Window World, 314-993-1800. Give them a call. And you're talking to a St. Louisan when you call that number right here in Earth City, right there off of I-70. I'm sure you've driven by there time and time again. That's where their warehouse is. These windows are made in America, and these people at Window World, they are a special group of people because what they really care about is not just about doing a good job. It is also about making sure that they earn and protect a reputation as an honest, ethical company that is a positive asset to St. Louis. And that's exactly what they are. They care about their product. They care about running a good business, and they care about their reputation, and they go out of their way to make sure that they take care of their customers. Over half of the calls that they get right now actually are from people who are referred by others. When was the last time you said, boy, that window was amazing, I'm going to tell somebody about it? Probably never, but a lot of people are right now. Oh, and the other thing they care about, the St. Louis Blues. They are the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. They are nuts about the Blues there. So give them a call today, 314-993-1800. Tell them Mike was bragging about him on the radio.
Dreaming of upgrading your outdoor space? STL FenceWorks is the choice for you. Our skilled craftsmen build custom fences from modern vinyl to classic ornamental, fitting your style and budget. Elevate your outdoor living with low-maintenance decks designed to relax and entertain. We choose only top-quality American-made materials, ensuring your project is built to last. Your satisfaction is our passion. With over 50 years of experience, custom designs, and exceptional customer service, visit stlfenceworks.com today.
My sponsor, Wellington Environmental, has helped thousands deal with hazardous materials. Hospitals, offices, schools, even homes. Here's something new. Wellington now offers dustless blasting. This is just like sandblasting, but without all the dust and emissions. Wellington uses everything from ground glass, walnuts, corn, even dry ice pellets. One university had Wellington remove their parking lot striping because dustless blasting is fast and it does not damage the concrete. So as a business or homeowner, I'm sure you could use this process. Industrial tanks, swimming pools, graffiti on buildings. And in fact, Wellington is blasting a Texaco station that will be revised as an historic building. Check the website for details and photos. WellingtonSTL.com. WellingtonSTL.com.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
My point about the governor there, it is absolutely about power. I read this, I almost fell out of my chair.
News Talk STL.
This thing is just absolutely dripping with iron.
News, analysis, opinion.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, is it Trump versus Harris or Trump versus someone else? You know, I actually had, by force of habit, had to stop myself from saying Trump versus Biden. Just force of habit. We've just said it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. All right, by the way, in about 20 minutes or so, I'm going to read the results of my Twitter poll, but you can still vote in it, and I hope that you do. So when you're on Twitter, if you got it up on your screen in another tab or you got it on your phone, just look up at AVP Radio Show. The question is very simple. Will Joe Biden finish his term as president? Yes, no. What do you think? It's a very close vote right now.
Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah. Well, it kind of feels like a coin toss at this point, doesn't it?
So what do you think is going to happen? Please go to at AVP Radio Show, vote, and I'm going to read those results here in just a little bit. Joined now by political pundit extraordinaire Chris Arps. And Chris, I think we all saw that this was coming. We saw the momentum building. We saw the pieces falling into place for Joe Biden to find a way to try to gracefully exit the campaign. Is he exiting gracefully? And what's next for the Democrats? Because they could have a real crap show, man.
I think he's exiting as gracefully as you can when you have all of the top Democratic leaders in Congress. You have the top donors of the Democratic Party basically edging you out. He saw the handwriting on the wall. This was kind of been speculating probably last Wednesday or Thursday that Sunday would be the day that he dropped out. And Mike, you've been in politics. You've ran campaigns. You've worked for politicians. You know that money is the mother's milk of politics. And ultimately, the money ran out. When you can't pay staff and you can't pay to get your message out, the only option for you is to shut down.
Morning, Chris. Gabe here. So my issue is with this Kamala Harris endorsement is if the issue was the polling that was for Biden, doesn't she poll worse, especially in these battleground states?
She does poll worse, but I think what the Democrats are banking on is one, she's younger than Joe Biden, and they can offer an interesting contrast between her and President Trump. She's also a woman. They feel that will put the abortion issue even more front and center in this campaign. So they're looking at those aspects of it and thinking that that will counter Joe Biden's low polling ratings and her own low polling ratings. And I'm sure they'll try to get her out more to try to make her look presidential and look like she is competent to try to raise her polling numbers.
Hey, good morning, Chris. Stell here. How are you, buddy?
I'm good.
Well, as Biden has literally disappeared, I don't know where he's gone. Is there a possibility that Joe Manchin will reappear?
I don't know. There's speculation. Joe Manchin has said today or yesterday that he could possibly re-register as a Democrat. Many of people are taking that move as possibly he may want to jump in the race. I don't think so. I think they're going to coronate Kamala Harris. Everyone is getting behind her. Notably, President Barack Obama hasn't yet. But I think the Democratic establishment has gotten behind her, and they don't want really a messy affair. They want to coronate her and get to the convention and start the campaign.
We're visiting with Chris Arps. You can hear him every afternoon with Tim Jones right here on News Talk STL. Okay, Chris, are there any Democrats that could be possible nominees, possible candidates that the Republicans should actually worry about? I mean, if you're the Trump Vance campaign, do you sit back and quietly go, ooh, I hope they don't pick that one?
Yeah. The names that you hear, Josh Shapiro, the first-time governor of Ohio, you got Gretchen Whitmer, of course, in Michigan. She's been talked about. My dark horse, and no pun intended, of course, is the first-term Maryland governor, Wes Moore, who is African-American. He's very articulate. He's a West Point graduate, and he's getting a lot of kudos for getting that bridge in Baltimore back in action and going. And he's been getting a lot of plaudits from a lot of people around the country for his handling of that disaster.
Chris, earlier today we were talking about a message from one Dion Joseph. He's a former consultant, I guess maybe even current consultant with the LAPD, and talking about how he wants to skip over all of the personal issues with Kamala Harris. You know, the affair with Willie Brown, to be specific. Let's just put it out there.
Colorful history.
Colorful history, and just focus on her horrible policies and bad oversight of various things. What do you make of that from a, I guess, a political consultant sort of thing? Is it right to attack that, or should we leave it on the table? What say you?
Look, I think all things are on the table. Politics, a political campaign is not just telling the positive aspects of yourself. We all wish campaigns would be like that, but campaign also consists of negative ads or contrast ads. And I think it's legitimate to point out things in people's personal lives that may affect their decision making. So I think it'll be a combination of both. As we all know from watching Kamala for the last 3 or 4 years, there is a rich source of material to go after her on. So it'll be very interesting to see that. One of the planks that Donald Trump is focusing on is law and order and crime. And she is very vulnerable in that respect. As you all remember, during the Michael Brown incident, there were riots all over the country, and she supported a bail fund for those in Minnesota that rioted during the George Floyd incident. So that's something she's going to have to answer for, and I don't think she's really got a good answer for it.
Chris, you mentioned Wes Moore from Maryland, the governor of Maryland, a moment ago. What about Cory Booker from Massachusetts?
I don't know. Cory
Jersey.
Booker, he ran for president. He didn't really get a lot of traction. I think an issue for him is, and it sounds kind of 18th century or 19th century, but he's a single man. When he was running for president, he did have a temporary girlfriend to try to quell that. But I think being a single man, even in the 21st century, hurts you in politics.
Yeah, I mean, there was some, critique of Tim Scott in that regard too. Is our politics are so weird, Chris? I mean, it's like, do they have the right ideas? Yeah, I mean, it's like, but you know what? If you can't find a date, why would I hire you? I mean, that is so weird.
You should be settled by now, son.
Have you seen some of these spouses? I mean, come on, that shows your judgment right there.
By the way, Cory Booker's from New Jersey. I'm sorry.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Well, defend it for a little bit. I mean, someone who, gets married, has a family, it shows responsibility, it shows maturity to some, I guess. I can see some people might have a problem with a single person. I don't think as much in the 21st century as maybe in earlier times, but there's still that thing. People want their leaders to be married to show that stability.
All right. And Chris, obviously you're going to be all over this afternoon from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, you and Tim Jones. What do you expect of the next steps in the conversation? I mean, the Democrats are a month from now. They've got their convention, which right now could be absolutely chaotic and absolute must-see TV. I think it'll be a fascinating exercise in political science, just detached from, how much I don't like what they're trying to do to the country right now. It's going to be fascinating. But what do you think the Democrats are going to try to get done before that convention starts when it comes to this race and all the others?
I think they're going to try to build up so much momentum that they're going to frighten or scare away any other person that wants to challenge Kamala Harris. I think this is her nomination. She will have the nomination at the convention. The vaulted, contested broker convention that we've all heard about for decades that could almost happen this year is not going to happen. I think they're going to coordinate Kamala at the convention, and then we head forward. The big intrigue, as I said earlier, is why didn't Barack Obama come out and endorse her, and when will he endorse her? I think that's really the only real intrigue left in this situation.
All right, we'll be tuning in at 4 o'clock today to find out what you and Tim come up with, because there could be plenty that changes between now and then, even today.
There'll be changes probably between your show and Vic's.
Yeah. All right.
That's how fast things are changing.
All right. Thanks, Chris. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
All right.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. 314-912-1019. I hope for the brokered convention.
Oh, it would be so entertaining.
I want to see that.
Oh my gosh. It would be, that would be the best thing for us, because one, it would keep the Democrats in chaos, and two, it would be content gold.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Fascinating as well. All right, what do you think? 314-912-1019. Don't forget, if you're watching us on the live stream, the video stream, Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, any of those, hit the like or hit the heart, hit whatever it is, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
It really does help us get your voice in front of more people, so please do that. And your time is running out to vote in my Twitter poll, so check out at AVP Radio Show. Will Joe Biden finish his term as president? I'm going to read the results of that in just about 12 minutes.
Take a bow for the new revolution. Smiling free with the change all around. Pick up my guitar and play.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Just like yesterday. Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again.
St. Louis is all about sports, and now is your chance to take home a one-of-a-kind Cardinals jersey. On Saturday, July 27th, the Birds on the Bat host the Washington Nationals, and that night, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will receive a Cardinals basketball jersey presented by Air National Guard. Don't miss your chance to add this unique jersey to your collection. That's the Cardinals basketball jersey, Saturday, July 27th. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
Hola amigos, this is Cardinals broadcaster Polo Asensio, inviting you to join us on Sunday, July 28th, when the Cardinals host the Washington Nationals. On this day, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home a Cardinals polo. No, not me. A polo shirt featuring an STL all over print design. Thanks to Busey Bank. This is the first promo of its kind, so it's one you don't want to miss. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Katie McKinney, founder and head of school for Lafayette Academy in Lake St. Louis. Recently, we had a new second grader come to Lafayette Academy who claimed he was stupid and hated reading. Within months of using our world-class literacy program, he was reading Harry Potter and loving it. He had just not been given the right tools. This is what true education is all about, giving our kids the tools so they can be successful. To learn more, go to LafayetteAcademy.org. That's LafayetteAcademy.org.
Liberal mega donors are always looking for new rhinos to do their bidding. And with Adam Schnelting, they found their new star. Adam Schnelting has already backed their radical plan to defund our police. And he skipped countless important conservative votes. Skipped a vote to protect kids from sexually explicit materials in school. And skipped a vote to protect churches from junk lawsuits. It's no wonder Adam Schnelting is bankrolled by Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's top funders. Bill Cristofanelli is the only leader we can trust to protect our conservative priorities. When radicals tried to defund the police, Bill Cristofanelli passed record funding from Missouri's law enforcement. When Joe Biden left our southern border wide open, conservative Bill Cristofanelli banned sanctuary cities and voted to send Missouri National Guard troops to secure the border. Vote Bill Cristofanelli, the proven conservative, for state senate.
Gladius PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Gladius PAC, and is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hi, it's Dan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the Morning.
All right, Bongino, speaking of Bongino, you know that he's going to be all over this hearing regarding the Secret Service.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. On one hand, the Secret Service and DHS are saying some of the right things.
Sure.
You know, we want to solve the problem. We want to get to the bottom of it. We're going to cooperate fully with every investigation. Okay, great. If you do that, that's fantastic.
Right.
That's what you should be doing, to say, we absolutely failed in a spectacular way. We want to get to the bottom of this too. So far, their actions have not matched that.
They've been saying that for 3.5 years, and we haven't seen anybody fired or moved out of a position. Everything just stays the same.
From DHS, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. But Secret Service is something we just never thought of.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some jobs in this world is when you do your job really well, one of the ways you know you've done your job really well is nobody notices.
That's right.
And that's part of what the Secret Service's history generally has been. Not that, you know, there were attempts on Gerald Ford. Obviously, there was the failure with John Hinckley Jr. and Ronald Reagan. And so, you know, it's not that there haven't been instances, but in this particular case, complete broad daylight and a complete glaring error that anybody with 3 or 4 brain cells to rub together could have stood in one spot and go, hey, did you check that building over there?
It's absolute crap show. It really was. I mean, and we have these satellite pictures now. You know, we have satellites capabilities, and we can see the venue clearly. Okay, here are the lines of sights. Here are the problem areas. And the second I saw it, the second I saw the overhead image, I was like, well, that building's a problem.
Right.
So what's the deal? Why didn't the professionals understand this?
Right, exactly. So that hearing is going to happen today. We're going to have updates for you on that as well. All right, 8:05. I've got the results of my Twitter poll, which, by the way, you've got about 2.5 minutes left to vote. So go to @AVP Radio Show on Twitter. What's next? That's the question when it comes to not just for the Democrats, but for the campaign and for the country. I am longing for things to be less interesting right now. I know that sounds weird doing what I do for a living, but that's what would be better for the country. And that's just not what we're getting right now.
Sorry, ain't going to happen.
Nope.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
For over 2 decades, Joe Brazel has served St. Charles County with passion and dedication. As your county councilman, Joe has championed smart growth with Proposition S, protected our veterans by stopping military funeral protests, stood against excessive high-density housing, and supported the 2030 Master Plan for controlled infrastructure. Joe Brazel, a true patriot working for you.
I'm Joe Brazel, running for St. Charles County Council, District 2, vote August 6th.
Paid for by Citizens for Joe Brazel, Mike Summers, Treasurer.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Looking to get a new carpet, hardwood, or tile installed quickly and efficiently in your home? Look no further than Michael's Flooring Outlet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a family-owned and operated business with a 30-year history of offering a diverse array of high-quality options in flooring. My parents and in-laws used Michael's to rip up their old carpet and replace it. They are both happy with the product and installation from Michael's. You can shop at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, or St. Peters, or you can check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
This is sound from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. This year's presidential race was supposed to be a rematch between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Well, that's no longer the case, as Mr. Biden ended his re-election bid yesterday and endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. Reacting to the news, New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon acknowledged Joe Biden's contribution to U.S. politics.
Irrespective of your politics, the reality is this is a leader that's given 50 years of service and public service in America. And that's something that's pretty significant achievement. So we wish him well.
The Harris campaign says it raised nearly $50 million in donations in the first 15 hours after President Biden dropped out of the race for president and endorsed her. Thousands of protesters are arriving in Washington, D.C. to protest Wednesday's address to Congress by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. On the Salem Media Group news program This Week on the Hill with Tony Perkins, House Speaker Mike Johnson, who issued the invitation for Netanyahu to address a joint session of Congress, says he's anticipating a bipartisan reception will greet the Israeli leader.
Certainly hope so. I know a number of my Democrat colleagues will be there, and people are very much anticipating, looking forward to this event, and I hope that all of them will come. Some will boycott, some will come up with an excuse, but we're looking for a big historic event.
Officials in Washington are expecting about 5,000 protesters when the Israeli Prime Minister arrives on Capitol Hill Wednesday. The Environmental Protection Agency is awarding $4.3 billion in grants to fund projects in 30 states to reduce climate pollution. The money will go to 25 projects targeting, among other things, greenhouse gas emissions from transportation. On Wall Street, Dow futures are ahead 74 points, while NASDAQ futures are up 202. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-504-8790. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-504-8790.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center may not be
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You'll notice the humidity a little bit more today. It's on the rise for the next couple of days. Temperatures still sitting comfortable and below normal for this time of year. A high of 85 degrees. Where we should be at is 90. I'm not forecasting temperatures to be close to the 90s until Tuesday and Wednesday, so turning a touch hotter. Now watch this afternoon. Some heat-driven storms are possible, but those will quickly disperse after sunset. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Gabe Pfeiffer.
There's something serious I have to tell you about the future.
Get up, St. Louis.
Hey, will you guys knock it off?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right, does Vice President Kamala Harris just have that built-in advantage for the Democratic nomination? And I'm not just talking about Joe Biden's endorsement. I'm talking about the money. And I'm also talking about, are the Democrats so stubborn that they absolutely refuse to read the room when it comes to how extreme they are getting? I'll talk about all that here in just a moment. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 8:05. The number here to get involved is 314-912-1019. All right. By the way, I did promise to do this, though. I put out a Twitter poll, just kind of threw it up late last night. So the question is very simply, will Joe Biden finish his term as president? The voting just stopped on Twitter, and it was a close vote. 54% of the people who voted in my poll said, no, Joe Biden will not finish his term as president.
Wow. Okay.
Now, I didn't ask why he wouldn't.
Sure.
25th Amendment or just resigned or something else. So 54% said no, 46% said yes, they think he will finish his term as president. What do you think? Is he going to finish his term as president?
I actually think yes.
Okay.
I if nothing else, I think they would legitimately prop him up Weekend at Bernie style.
Okay, here are the pros and the cons of him remaining president. Let's start with from the Democrats' perspective, from the Biden's perspective, the pros of him staying in office up through the next inauguration of whoever is going to be the next president. That would be that he's got unfinished business that he's probably not going to get through Congress. At this point, nothing of substance is going to get done in Congress. So whatever they can try to do via executive order, he's got nothing to lose. So go all out.
Absolutely.
Forgive all those student loans.
Yeah, just do it. Because he's been just doing it for a long time as it is.
Right. Just forgive them all. Go all out. Stop those payments for millions of people. And then every Democrat who's running for Congress can say, look, you're not paying any student loan bills right now.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And hope that the Supreme Court stops it or a federal court stops it after the election.
Yeah. And of course, that money's never going to come back.
Right.
If it, once it's wiped, and people are going to stop paying and all the other things. And they'll consider it a lot of people, at least, especially in the middle, will consider that, thanks for the check, essentially.
Yep. And of course, there are a few people close to him that he would probably want to see some pardons written.
Oh gosh, the pardons would be fast and furious. I think.
Yes, there'd be a lot of those. Now,
can you pre-pardon?
to be fair, every president does that. There's
Well,
a
yes.
list of last day pardons. Every president does that, but
Oh,
he's
yeah.
got some nefarious ones there as well. So those are some of the reasons to keep him in there. So the Democrats right now have to sort of backsell Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at the approval ratings. You look at where he was in the campaign. The fact of the matter is the Democrats, if they could prop him up weekend at Bernie style,
for the next 4 years
and get through the next election, they would be happy to do that.
Oh, as far as we knew, that's what their plan was.
Yeah.
Up until yesterday, essentially.
Right. And so at this point now, they're going to backsell him as the elder statesman.
Mm-hmm.
What a patriot. What a selfless act.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't, they want to put him to a point where you just can't beat up on the old guy who's, you know, at the tail end of his career. He's in his 80s. Be nice.
He dedicated most of his life to public service and
Right.
all this. It's like, really? Is that
Right.
where we're going with this?
That's where we're going with it.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do, because the entire Trump Vance campaign is all about the horrible incompetency and just lousy economics of the Biden administration.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you thought Biden administration in this country, you think open border, you
Mhm.
think illegal immigration. You see the videos of illegal immigrants fighting with our border security and our law enforcement. You hear the stories. You remember the stories of people being murdered by illegal immigrants. You see the stories about cities, even left-wing cities, who are begging for mercy because they can't handle all the illegal immigrants. You also think of inflation. You
Mhm.
remember the supply chains that were shut off. You think of all of these economic disasters. You realize how much you're paying for gas right now compared to last time around. So all of the things that you're going to beat up Joe Biden figuratively on, they want to say, this is just such a nice guy. Would you beat up your grandpa?
Right.
Would you beat up your great grandpa
at his retirement party?
Right. Exactly.
Basically. Yeah.
So there's an incentive to backsell him.
Mhm.
Now, here's the other part of this incentive is the money. The most conservative estimate that I've seen in news reports is that the Biden-Harris campaign fund has over $90 million in it. Now, some say it's much higher than that, but
Sure.
what's documented is over $90 million. Kamala Harris can use that right now.
Mm-hmm. She's on the ticket.
She's on the ticket. She's on the name of the campaign.
So technically, it's her money to spend.
She can spend it.
Mm-hmm.
No other candidate can. So they could go into this Democratic convention in Chicago and say, you want to start off $90 million in the hole?
Right. Here's my war chest.
Yeah. She's got $90 million. We can hit the ground day one right off the bat.
That's her dowry to the
Right.
the Democrat Party is like, hey, you
Right.
take me and you get this.
So if they don't nominate her,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if they nominate Gretchen Whitmer, JB Pritzker, just throw in whatever name you can. Chris Arps earlier said Westmore, whoever.
Pete Buttigieg.
P. Buttigieg. Yeah,
Scary.
Pick any of them.
Yeah.
They are not allowed to use that money.
Right. Now they would come in with whatever their particular war
Right.
chest is, but I don't
Which
think
ain't
any of
much.
it does not. I don't think anybody
No.
who's been in consideration can rise to that level of $90 million.
Right. So the Biden-Harris campaign could donate that to the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
And there's a certain percentage, you know, probably $30-40 million they could spend directly on the Harris or whoever, Buttigieg or whoever campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But if they want to use every single penny of that for the presidential campaign, Kamala Harris is the only one who can do it.
That's right.
So that's one aspect of this as well. Here's another aspect of this as well. They may look at the surveys and the polling, and they've got better polling than what's available to the rest of us, because I still think polling generally sucks right now.
Yep.
They could look at that and go, we're going to lose no matter what.
Right. We need a sacrificial lamb.
Exactly. Who are we going to throw to the wolves out there,
Mm-hmm.
end their career, and then have our bench ready for 2028?
Honestly, that was one of the first things I thought about, just
Yeah.
kind of in my heart of hearts. It's like they maybe at this point they've conceded the election. Essentially, they're like, we're not going to win this one. You know, the fist in the air with blood on his face, with the American flag waving in the background. It's like that was it. That was the death blow to the 2024 presidential campaign. So how do we leverage this the best we can?
Okay, check this out. On MSNBC on Sunday, yesterday, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a Democrat, pretty far left Democrat, was being asked about Kamala Harris being the presumed nominee. And she said, yeah, not so fast. Here's what the Congresswoman had to say.
I am not confident at all because, as it was laid out earlier, I do know that, behind closed doors, while I won't name names, that there were people that were absolutely like, it can't be the vice president. So in one breath, they were saying, the president needs to be out. In the next breath, they were also saying it can't be her.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yep. And I've been saying that since day one of the talk about Joe Biden's incompetence and incapability of continuing on. I was thinking that what the Democrats were going to do, the smartest play that they could make was to get Joe Biden to step down and give such a gigantic golden parachute to Kamala Harris that she makes it sound like her idea to step out of the way, because that's the only way you can not draw the ire of all the identitarians in your movement if unless she's the one who makes the decision. You know what? I think I've accomplished everything I want to do. I don't want to be president. Blah blah blah, and I move on to I don't know, maybe an ambassadorships to Jamaica or something like that. So it's like her homeland. But beyond that, I couldn't see, them moving forward with Kamala Harris because of her vast unpopularity and pretty spectacularly evident incapability to really run a successful campaign.
So some people have said, okay, they've got a 25th Amendment Joe Biden. They are not going to do that.
No, I don't think so.
No. There is an advantage for the Democrats to have her be the next president, so that she runs
as an incumbent,
as the incumbent, but not by the 25th Amendment, because if Joe Biden is removed from office via the 25th Amendment, one, Democrats will have to do it. And then they're going to spend the next, 3 months trying to explain how they knew that Joe Biden was not up for the job, and yet they still covered up, including the vice president.
That's one of the questions she has to answer for.
Right.
You were covering this up.
But if he were to suddenly say, boy, that long COVID that he had gave him an aneurysm. Boy, oh my goodness, he's had a stroke at his age. Oh my goodness, the doctor says his blood pressure. He has to resign to maintain his health, and Kamala Harris becomes the 47th president of the United States. They try to usher him out by saving face and going gracefully to celebrations and all this kind of stuff. And she runs as the incumbent president of the United States. But I'm telling you right now, they're not going to 25th Amendment him. No. If they can possibly avoid it.
But here's how she makes so much more sense as a sacrificial lamb. And this is the other thought that I had when Joe Biden announced his exit, is that she's already, they've already given up on this election. She's essentially slated to lose. She polls horribly, particularly in the battleground states and things like that. So what you do is you leverage the horrible attacks on this beautiful woman of color, this well-qualified person, and you use that as more fundraising for the next election. You use that as you use her as a martyr, essentially. For the benefit of the Democrat Party at large, and especially the next go around.
Okay. And at the same time, she still gives the younger voters somebody to appeal to them.
Oh, yeah.
Which may not save the presidential race for them, but boy, that could make a difference in those U.S. House races and those U.S. Senate races, and maybe even a governor race here and there. So that's also part of the equation.
Yeah,
as well.
Remember all that down ticket talk earlier.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's dump some news on you. Then 8:35, this is going to be fun. Jeff Charles from RedState.com. He's been writing about this feverishly over the last day or so. We're going to get his take on it right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Stop right now before you blow us all away.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin.
Hey, Columbo here for the great cleaning pros at Zero Res. Summertime in St. Louis means barbecues, graduation parties, and spending time with friends and family. And Zero Res knows how important it is to have your home as clean and healthy as possible for your loved ones. So they have an amazing summer offer for you. Book a cleaning in July and mention the Columbo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 and a 4th room free. Just mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, one way or the other, we will have a new president in 2025. I'm sure you've already heard that news.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. Secret Service under the microscope in the halls of Congress today, and the Cardinals off to a good start in the post-All-Star game part of the season. Let's dump some news on you.
The Morning News Dump. Are you joking? Is this a joke? Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right, President Biden deciding to step aside. He's dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. By the way, we had a very good conversation a little bit earlier today, a couple hours ago, with Rick Manning from Americans for Limited Government. That's going to be up on our podcast here in a couple of hours. You want to check that out. Really good stuff there. Democratic Congressman, let's see here, Jared Moskowitz, he's out of Florida, was on Fox News's Democracy 2024 talking about what's next.
Republicans are going to try to make the same case against her they were making against Biden. Oh, it's the border. Oh, it's Israel. It's going to be the same playbook. Obviously, she is her own person.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do, and I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's the border.
Mm-hmm.
The border czar.
Yes, exactly.
Israel selling out and abandoning the ally that we absolutely have every vested national interest in, and the incompetence of empowering terrorist organizations. Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do, Congressman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And Joe Biden may be passing the torch. The congressman said that in that interview as well. But it's not certain that Democrats are going to let Kamala Harris take it and run to Election Day.
In her first public statement since Joe Biden dropped out of the 2024 race, the vice president said she is honored to have the president's endorsement, and her intention is to earn and win this nomination. Harris described Biden's decision as a selfless and patriotic act, putting the American people and the country above everything else, she said. Former President Clinton also endorsed Harris. However, former President Obama did not. He said Democrats will be creating a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Well, isn't it fascinating how Barack Obama's name continues after all these years to come up as, well, is Barack Obama going to let it happen?
Yeah, I think there are reasons why. I think he's been back there the entire time, frankly, and the fact that his name keeps coming up is not accidental.
He's the dude behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it's like, pay no attention to the man pulling the levers and.
But the idea of, because the endorsements are one thing, and it takes a little over 1,900 delegate votes on the Democratic side to secure that nomination. Kamala Harris has about 530 of them already. just from delegates who have publicly pledged, I'm going to be voting for Kamala Harris. Because at this point, what happens is every delegate is free to vote for whomever they want to vote for.
Right. At this point, they are unencumbered by the democratic process.
So the horse trading is on. If you are a delegate for the Democrats, and we know that there are, plenty of Democrats who listen to the program here. If you happen to be a delegate to the national convention, if your phone hasn't already started ringing,
people don't know you're a delegate. Apparently,
it's going to start any second.
Yeah.
Now. The offers to take you to lunch, to take you out to dinner,
Yeah.
the emails, the text messages, your mailbox is about to be stuffed full because the Democrats have to pick somebody at this convention. Josh Hawley was talking about this on the Ingram angle, and he says it doesn't change what the Republicans are going to be doing.
At the end of the day, Republicans know who our candidate is, Donald Trump, who's not a puppet, and that's why he's going to win in November.
And by the way, about an hour ago, CBS News reported this, so I don't know how valuable it is because it's CBS, but they're reporting Joe Manchin has said no to running for president.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, has already said no and endorsed Kamala Harris. Gavin Newsom has said no. Looks like Gretchen Whitmer, it looks like, has said no. Now, that doesn't mean that they wouldn't be considered for a vice presidential slot by whomever they pick.
They're just not challenging Kamala directly.
Dick Durbin has not weighed in on this, and that's a big deal because he's like the number 2 Democrat in the U.S. Senate, along with Barack Obama, both from Illinois. I'm just pointing out, both from Illinois, not endorsing Kamala Harris. Now, keep in mind, we're less than 24 hours since all this happened, but they are from Illinois, and so is J.B. Pritzker, obviously.
Yeah. Now, you asked the question earlier, who you afraid of on the Democrat Party for the nomination. Joe Manchin was the one and only.
Yeah, I mean, rest assured, if you're really on board the Donald Trump campaign, or you're just ready to get it back to a Republican residency in the White House, rest assured, the Democrats are not going to be smart enough to nominate somebody like Joe Manchin and or Tulsi Gabbard. The far left has run them out of their party.
Yeah.
If one or more of those two were on the ticket, if you had Manchin, Gabbard, and Tulsi Gabbard is a leftist. She's a liberal. Now, she's one I could easily have a cup of coffee with and have a debate and enjoy the conversation with. And Joe Manchin is probably the last center-left Democrat in Congress, the last truly centrist one. I am telling you, there's not a single Republican who could have competed with that ticket.
No, not at all.
Not one. Not Donald Trump, not Ron DeSantis, not Tim Scott, not Nikki Haley, none of them. They would have all lost in a landslide to that ticket right now.
Yep.
Now, 4 years from now, I don't know. 8 years, I don't know. But the Democrats and the fringe left of the Democrats are not smart enough to nominate people like that to their office. So they're going to find somebody far to the left to put up there on it. So, be, I guess, thankful that the fringe left ran out anybody with any common sense out of their national platform. All right. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle is going to testify before Congress today after the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Now, she's obviously facing all kinds of scrutiny because of the Secret Service's mishandling of that entire event. She's now facing an investigation by the House Oversight and Accountability Committee, and House Intelligence Committee Chairman, his name is Congressman Mike Turner, Republican out of Ohio, was on Face the Nation on CBS, and he wants Cheadle to be fired. And he also reveals what the Secret Service has already told lawmakers in some private briefings.
Their own timeline admits that 9 minutes before Donald Trump took the stage, that they were aware of a particular threat and still let Donald Trump take the stage. And then, as we also know from their own timeline, they didn't take a shot to take out the shooter until Donald Trump himself was shot.
And there are, at least that I know of, at least 3 investigations at different oversight levels, both in Congress and also within the bureaucracy of the federal government as well. So at least 3 separate investigations are underway. This is one where the political and other incentives are there for the Democrats to actually do the right thing and cooperate and work with Republicans to do this. Whether or not everybody's going to do that, or whether politics gets in the middle of it, we'll see. But this is one of those few areas where the incentives are for everybody to do the right thing, regardless of your political affiliation.
I imagine the Democrats, the leftists out there are going to choose their ideology over everything because they can't throw their DEI hire or her DEI
Right.
practices under the bus.
Well, yeah, I mean, that part they can't do it. They'll have to come up with something else. But, there's going to be Republican presidents. There's going to be Democratic presidents from here on out. And they've got to solve this problem. As much as we talk about the swamp in D.C., which I absolutely agree. When Donald Trump kind of coined that term, I think he's right. But there are still people there who are trying to do some things.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There are a few, they're few and far between, and I don't think any of them are really in serious positions of leadership
Right.
and power. That's the problem.
Unfortunately, yeah. All right. St. Louis City's guaranteed basic income experiment is shut down by a judge.
Oh,
This is interesting. Okay. Late last week, the court issued a temporary restraining order against the program, which was paying selected families $500 per month from the city's reserves of ARPA funds, the COVID money.
Right.
And remember when they, late last year, when they put this into place, we talked about how stupid of a program this is.
Yeah. One, it doesn't count as COVID.
Right.
I mean, like that shouldn't count as
Not
a
even
COVID
close.
valid thing. And then, of course, universal basic income is one of the dumbest policies
Yeah.
ever to rise.
This is St. Louis became one of 30 cities around the country, 30-ish cities that have some sort of guaranteed basic income pilot program. And of course, they're using it with, federal funny money to do that. It was supposed to be an 18-month pilot program, which of course they want to expand on this because it's just frankly a socialist program. So the ruling, this is what's interesting. Not only does it stop the payments, and the payments are stopped now, but the ruling also orders the money that's already been sent out over the past several months to be returned to the city.
And that's huge. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa, you want it back?
Now it ain't going to happen. They're not getting that money back.
Not immediately. I bet the Department of Revenue could basically put a lien on their tax return
Yeah.
so that if they qualify for any return money, it would go directly to pay that back. I could see that.
I bet you they won't do that though.
Oh, really?
I bet you they'll say, well, we sent them a letter. They just won't go give us the money back.
Yeah, you're not wrong. We got to consider who's in leadership
Yep.
over at the Department of Revenue, right?
A group called the Holy Joe Society, which is a bunch of lawyers, many of whom are conservative and libertarian. They sued to block the program, saying it violates both the city charter and the state constitution. This is a temporary restraining order, so there's another round of court fights to go on this one.
Yeah, but the restraining order suggests that there is merit to their case.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. All right, the Cardinals win their first series after the All-Star break, taking 2 out of 3 against the Braves. I guess the Cardinals were well rested since none of them actually played in the All-Star game. Final score in Atlanta on Sunday was 6-2. Paul Goldschmidt, Alec Burleson, Lars Nootbaar, and Wilson Contreras all had home runs. That's a lot of home runs.
That is a lot of home runs.
A lot of baseballs
My
were flying
goodness.
out of that park there. Miles Michaelis got the win. He's now 8-8 on the season. The Redbirds begin the series in Pittsburgh tonight. First pitch is at 5:40 our time. All right, Jeff Charles from RedState.com. This is always a good time.
Oh,
Looking
yeah.
forward to getting his take on the entire Kamala drama here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You'll notice the humidity a little bit more today. It's on the rise for the next couple of days. Temperatures still sitting comfortable and below normal for this time of year. A high of 85 degrees. Where we should be at is 90. I'm not forecasting temperatures to be close to the 90s until Tuesday and Wednesday, so turning a touch hotter. Now watch this afternoon. Some heat-driven storms are possible, but those will quickly disperse after sunset. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
News commentary.
Joe Biden has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race, and I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Donald Trump Jr. here. Since January of 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but you can stop your losses by diversifying into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Biden officially dropped out of the race yesterday, issuing a written statement that read, as most of us predicted it would, that he is stepping down for the good of the party, blah, blah, blah. Well, the insurrection on Joe's candidacy was successful, and I hate to toot my own horn here, but toot toot. It wasn't that hard to figure out. The only two reasons he was the nominee for the Democrats in 2020 were, one, he was the only candidate on that Democrat primary stage that was moderate enough to get elected, and two, he was already cognitively out to lunch and easy to control. But now they've thrown him away like yesterday's trash. And though Joe endorsed Kamala Harris, I don't buy it. The Democrats can't win with Kamala Harris. And if I know Democrats, and believe me, I do, it's that they will win, and they will win at all costs. DEI be damned. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
No matter how big the event, Capriotti's can take care of all of your business or personal catering needs. With party trays, box lunches, a meatball bar, shareable salads, plus desserts and sides. Easy ordering is available via the Capriotti's app. Check it all out at capriottis.com.
Are you tired of establishment politics? Meet Adam Schnelting, your true conservative choice for state senate. Adam Schnelting, husband, father, soldier, and member of the House Freedom Caucus. Adam authored the legislation that ended abortion in Missouri and is the grassroots candidate Jefferson City fears. Unlike his opponent Phil Cristofanelli, who's backed by lobbyists and Democrats, Adam's support comes from right here in St. Charles County. It's time for real conservative leadership. Vote Adam Schnelting for state senate.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John Royal Treasurer.
Connor Roofing, you can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
How'd you like to eliminate your expensive cable bill forever or get new satellite internet where cable can't go? Well, now you can have affordable satellite internet service for a few dollars a day. All you need is a mini satellite installed, and you can have unlimited internet connections wirelessly in your home or office. And no cable boxes means unlimited connections and no clutter. You can surf the internet or stream any of your favorite television services with no cable. And the best part is, satellite internet service costs only a few dollars a day for your entire home. Yes, fast internet to surf or stream television for a few bucks a day. Call now for free details and learn how to drop your expensive cable bill.
800-696-2871. 800-696-2871. 800-696-2871. That's 800-696-2871.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home.
Hi, it's Vic Corselli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, Mom, morning, people.
Hey, did you hear what happened? Joe Biden dropped out.
Let's head to the skies.
I wonder if folks are going to remember where they were when they heard the news in the future, 5-10 years from now. Well, I remember when I heard Biden dropped out.
I remember when Dark Brandon went off into the sunset.
Right.
That's right.
We told Brandon to go. We said, let's go, Brandon. And he went. I don't think people are going to attach themselves to this particular moment in history as much as the media, political media, wants us to think that this is, yes, it's historic and that a president like Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ deciding to not run for election or re-election. Yes, it's historic, but I don't think people are going to cling to this moment in history the way that others do.
No.
But for right now, we don't know what the presidential race is going to look like. And we did think we knew what it was going to look like 48 hours ago, and we don't now.
Yeah. I think one reason folks won't remember, he hasn't come out and said anything. So there wasn't a statement on Sunday afternoon, a live statement on radio and TV. It was
a tweet.
A tweet coming out.
It was a letter. They showed a picture of a letter. He says he's going to address the nation later this week. So we'll see. Once he's feeling good, he's having a good day.
Properly juiced up.
Before 8 o'clock when his bedtime happens. Oh, you know who's writing about this? Jeff Charles from RedState.com
He's been
joins
on
us
it
right now. And Jeff, I'm looking at your two articles. Democrats rally behind Kamala Harris as Biden bows out. And your prediction, Democrats will choose Kamala Harris to replace Joe Biden. Now, a lot of endorsements already for Kamala Harris, including obviously the president and 530 some odd delegates already. But there are some key not endorsements yet at this point. There are people saying, hey, we might have the brokered convention. It's going to be just like the West Wing. Aaron Sorkin's going to write this thing. Why do you think they're eventually going to, or maybe quickly, going to sort of coalesce around Kamala Harris?
Yeah, so I think that, I mean, the die is already cast on that, and I think that they've really been pushing this behind the scenes since President Biden's abysmal debate performance against Trump. I think that a lot of the issue is that they're still really tied to their identity politics. So I really don't see them choosing another white male to replace when they have Kamala Harris, who is a black woman. I think that she had been positioning herself, had already been positioning herself for this position even during the 2020 campaign. So there may be some who try to go with somebody else, but I think Kamala is the one that's going to get it for better or for worse. I also think that at this point, it's very unlikely that any Democratic candidate is going to beat Trump after the assassination attempt, after how Democrats have bungled things while they've been in office. And really, she'd make a pretty good sacrificial lamb. I mean, I wrote this about Governor Gavin Newsom. I don't think he's going to throw his hat into the ring. I think he's going to wait until 2028 because he wants the position to win. Kamala Harris, I mean, you can never say never in 2024, but I think that since people don't really like her all that much with her low approval ratings, she's the perfect one to put up and lose, and then Democrats can regroup for 2028.
Morning, Jeff. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So I've been watching Kamala Harris's interesting career for a little bit now, and I've seen her being rolled out to try and shore up the black vote on a couple of occasions where there were Democratic operatives who'd say, oh yeah, she's going to go and try to recapture the black male vote, which seems to be breaking a little bit for Trump. Now, as a black man, I'm not really seeing that, so I'm curious what your take is.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I mean I think in part they want to push her to appeal to black voters, especially since Biden wasn't doing as well as he did before. But I've said this from the beginning, even from 2020, they're not pushing Kamala Harris to get black voters; they're pushing Kamala Harris to get white women. So I think the black vote is secondary here. I think they want white women, and then if they can get more black people, they can. But like you said, black people, and especially black men in general, aren't that crazy about her. So I think a lot of black men are just going to sit on the couch on election day, and then some are going to actually vote for Trump. I do believe he'll increase his black support, maybe not as much as some people are anticipating or hoping, but I think that is going to happen just because people are dissatisfied with Biden. They're dissatisfied with Harris. They never really liked her in the first place. So I do think that there will be a bump, but I don't think that she's going to get, more black support than what. That being said, she's still going to get the vast majority of black voters.
Oh, sure.
Hey, Jeff, what do you make of the Democrats? Is there an impetus on them just strategically to try to backsell, what the Biden administration has done and try to pump up Joe Biden as, hey, as he's riding off into the sunset, what a great guy, stop beating him up? Is there a strategic reason why they want him to go out gracefully and to accolades and get people to say, all right, I'm done kicking him while he was down? I mean, is there a campaign reason to do that? Because we're hearing words like patriot, we're hearing words like selfless, we're hearing words like that to describe Joe Biden that are way too similar across the board to not think that those came from a central DNC talking point.
Yeah, well, we're already seeing it, right? I mean, the media has been calling for him to drop out and floating the idea of replacing him for the past 3 or 4 weeks. Now that he's actually agreed to do what they want, the spin has already begun. They're going to cast him as this elder statesman who, brought us out of the era of Trump and brought all these jobs back and yada, yada, yada. Now we're going to get all of the glowing pieces, making him look like some Winston Churchill type figure. And yeah, it's very interesting to see how It's so blatant that it's hard to see this as anything other than a political strategy on the part of the media.
Good morning, Jeff. Stalpontikas here. So is there a danger that he stays in office for the next 6 months and tries to push more executive orders through and maybe even pardon Hunter?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think that now that he's basically a lame duck, he's going to try to do everything he can. I mean, we can probably expect some more ATF rules against guns. We can expect him to push more anti-gun policy through the executive office since he can't get it through Congress. But I wouldn't be surprised if Democrats actually pressure him to resign so that Kamala can take over as acting president. Now she's already in the office. And the belief would be, or the strategy would be, that since she's president now, if they do convince Biden to resign, that she is the perfect person to take up the mantle since she's already in office. I think that's very much a possibility. It'll be a balancing act that they have to play, but I think that could actually happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole different dynamic if you're just choosing between two free agents and it's an open seat versus you're being asked to fire somebody who's already in that job, even if they were not elected to that job. It really would change the dynamics. And I wouldn't be surprised if they invent some reason to make sure that he resigns, prior to the election, to make sure that she is the 47th president of the United States and running as the incumbent.
Yeah, I think so too. They may not do it right away. I mean, I know they don't have a whole lot of time between now and election day, but they might give him a few more weeks, or maybe a month to continue as president. And if they want strategy, they'll start applying around. And they may have already done it. This may have already been part of the deal, and that just hasn't been announced yet. But I think that strategically, it would actually be a good move for Democrats if they did that.
All right, we're visiting with Jeff Charles from RedState.com, and Jeff, just got a couple minutes left here. Are there any possible candidates that would be or could be a threat to win the election, who would be somebody who would have a better chance of competing with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance that either we're not thinking of or who may just be looking at, and I think what you said is right, saying, ooh, I'm not going to burn up all my fuel on this election when I'm unlikely to win. I'm going to keep my powder dry for 2028. Is there anybody out there, though, that the Republicans should be concerned about as more of a competition or more of a political threat?
I really don't think so. I mean, I brought up Gavin Newsom earlier. If he did decide to throw his hat in the ring, he would probably do better against Trump than Harris, but I still don't think he would win. And I think he knows that, which I think. Now, that being said, I mean, Trump and Republicans shouldn't get complacent right now. It's theirs to lose, but we can never underestimate the ability of the GOP to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Mm-hmm.
So it can still happen, but I think if they play their cards right, I don't think there's any Democrat that they can put up that would beat Trump in November.
Yeah, the left circles the wagons and the right circles the firing squad.
Yes, the circular firing squad.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
You'd think we'd be better with firearms.
You would think so, exactly. Oh man! All right, Jeff. So last bit or so here. What do we watch for in the next, the coming days or so? I mean, obviously there's a lot of horse trading going on the Democratic side. Some of the biggest names on the Democratic side have yet to make like an endorsement, encourage the delegates to commit to Kamala Harris or anybody else. What do you think we should be looking for in the short term right away? Because I think you're right. I think they want this settled before the convention, but my God, do I really want to see a brokered convention and all the drama? I just don't. I just think they're going to deny me that.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, because the Democrats are smart. They're not going to want that much drama right now. I mean, the attention is on them since Biden dropped out of the race. Kamala Harris is being pushed. We're not talking as much about the assassination attempt that just happened a week ago. So right now they have the press, and they're going to use it to the best of their ability, and they've always been pretty good at that. So I don't think that we're going to get the drama and any kind of drama that's going to hurt them. I think that a lot of this will be resolved before the convention. I think some people might try to run against her, but I think it's just going to be more of a, we're just doing this just to make it look good. But I think they've chosen their nominee
because democracy.
Yeah.
Democracy. Save democracy.
Protect it.
All right. Check out Jeff's work at RedState.com. Just look up Jeff Charles. He's always in the top few articles that's up there. Jeff, great talking to you, man. Thanks so much.
Jeff's Instagram is fire, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hey, he calls out people of whiteness.
Oh, yes. The people of whiteness.
That's right.
That's my favorite term ever.
Absolutely. All right, Jeff. We'll talk to you again soon, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Take it easy.
All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019-941 News Talk STL. Got a chance to get your thoughts in here before we wrap up and turn things over to Vic Porcelli. Okay, let me just kind of address something here right after this information segment. Did the Cardinals players do a pro-Trump pose?
Oh, yeah. We have to talk about this.
During the game.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this?
Just barely, but
Did you hear about this?
Yes, I did, and I saw the videos. I thought some was stupid thing.
We need
Yeah.
to clear the
Yeah,
record here. We need to set the record straight, guys.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll tell you what happened and then tell you what the reality of it is.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I'm so tired of my water smelling like rotten eggs. Iron foul. It makes my clothes and home smell. And my sink and faucet look dirty. I'm calling Jones Air and Water Treatment for their solution to this pollution.
Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to your pollution. Call now for your free water analysis at 636-899-1040 and live with clean, great tasting water. That's 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
The investigations are ramping up. What was the Secret Service failing to do to protect Donald Trump?
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Hi, this is Mark McCloskey. Check out my show, Mark McCloskey on Fire, Sunday afternoon at 5 here on News Talk STL. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Guess who has a new album coming out?
Striper? Really?
They do like one a year.
Jeez.
I think it's out as of
Is
last
it to come
week.
out? Oh,
It
last
might
week. Oh,
be.
yeah.
It might be.
All right.
Probably kind of missed it with the assassination attempt
really.
and everything like that. I missed the
Oh,
news.
8:52 right now. I'm Mike, got Stell here, got Gabe here. Okay, did you see the I saw this all over Twitter and Facebook. There were a whole bunch of people like, I have a new favorite team, it's the St. Louis Cardinals. They're pro-Trump. I'm thinking, what?
Wait, what? What happened?
No, what's going on?
I mean, they do wear red hats, but I
It's
mean,
true. So they were, for some reason in baseball or every sport, everybody has to have their signature move.
Yeah.
Something good happens, you got to have like your signature celebratory move, which I think's dumb, but that's the
It's
way
a new
it is
thing.
now. It's like, touchdown dances from 20 years ago are now like, I got a single dance. I mean, in baseball, it's just ridiculous. So the Cardinals had this thing where, Alec Burleson hits a home run yesterday, as he seems to do a lot these days. And he goes around the bases and he puts one hand up and he puts the other hand over his ear.
Right.
And he's like bobbing his hand. And everybody's like, he's doing a Trump pose. They look in the dugout, and like a bunch of the Cardinals are doing this too.
Right.
And they're like, you're doing a Trump pose. The Cardinals are MAGA. And then, of course, you see people like, I'm never watching the Cardinals again.
Oh,
Or
gosh.
I have a new favorite team.
Yes.
They support our president.
Immediate tribalism.
And then immediately everybody's debating as to whether or not they've injected politics into it, or whether or not it's not political. They just respect the strength, and they go on and on and on and on. You saw this, right?
Yeah,
Scott?
yeah. You know what the number one problem with it is? It's not the left ear.
There you go.
Eric's got his hand on his left ear. No,
Yeah.
if he was doing something for Trump, he'd
Right.
have it over his right ear with his left arm up.
Right. And so
I think it's ridiculous.
one of the reporters went, let me ask a cardinal about this.
Oh, you mean go to the source?
So
That's crazy.
The first person that I saw quoted was Matt Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
And Carpenter goes, no, this doesn't have anything to do with Donald Trump. One of the guys on the team apparently fancies himself to be a DJ too.
Right.
And they were doing like a DJ in the club pose.
Yeah.
With the headphones over the one hand and then the
And
whatever you do with the other.
You're just kind of making it,
Right. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Which was the widest, interpretation of that ever. But
and I think Eric's been doing it for a while. It's not like he just started doing it last Saturday.
oh, what? Yeah. Oh, the move.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't even.
I think
yeah.
so. I think he's been doing it for a little
Yeah,
while.
because the last couple games I watched on TV, he wasn't hitting home runs
Oh, there you go.
on that one.
That's
And it was funny because everybody rushed in to politicize and personalize it. And like you said, Stella, it was the dumbest thing I ever heard. I'm like, there's no way that they were doing a Trump pose during a baseball game. There's no, I mean, they now, to be fair, they're not doing Biden poses. They're not tripping over the base. They're not getting on first base and then aimlessly walking into right field.
We're tripping over the baseline.
Right. They're not doing that.
They're not hitting home plate and then sniffing the catcher.
That's true. Trust me, you do not want to do
You
that.
don't want to sniff the catcher.
No.
His gear's not
No.
not a good thing.
Oh my goodness.
It's a bit ripe.
Man, don't get in my car right now.
No, that's where all your gear
No, I bought the Febreze at the store yesterday. I did last weekend. It was mid 90s all weekend long.
Oh,
I
yeah.
caught 3 games in 2 days.
Oh my gosh.
And I had sweated through my gear so bad that literally my chest protector was wet.
Oh my gosh, that's so gross.
And then, I pack up the gear and go home and the next because I caught 2 games on Sunday. So Monday morning I come in to go to work and I get up and I open the car and I step in. I'm like,
oh no.
You don't want to do that.
You added like 3 pounds of weight to your gear.
Oh,
by the way.
goodness, yeah. But it's kind of funny how people just rushed, and there was a full-fledged argument and debate in the comments over the Cardinals and Donald Trump and the pose and politics and what's wrong with wanting to make America? I mean, it went down a rabbit hole so fast. And I'm like, listen, guys, I get it. You're pro-Trump. I get it, but guys, that's not what they were doing.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem. And I think this is mainly the left's doing, but the right has bought into it essentially, which is usually what happens. The left changes something, and the right just kind of accepts the change. The left believes in no escapism.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, politics has always been over there. And then we would live our lives. We would do things, and we would particularly have our recreational things, which are our escapism.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna watch a movie. I'm gonna watch TV. I'm gonna go play a sport. I'm gonna watch a sport. I'm gonna play golf. All of these things were means by which we escaped the troubles of our day, as well as politics in particular, because that's kind of the ugliest of life aspects, right? But the left made politics everything. Politics is in everything now. Politics is in your beer. It's in your cereal. It's in your clothing store choice. It's in your choice of entertainment now.
Right.
There is no escapism in a leftist world, and we can't accept that. We stop looking for politics everywhere that you look, please, because it's basically the reverse TDS.
Yes. And feel free to escape from time to time.
Yes, actually you must.
Yeah, escape. It's okay. You do not need to be dialed into politics and raising your blood pressure all the time. You know what? Burleson hits a home run. Contreras throws somebody out of second base. Turn around and high five that leftist who's sitting right next to you.
Yeah, there you go.
It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can vote against them, and argue with them online later. But for a little bit, it's okay to escape from it. I'm good with that. That's called being human. And apparently don't put your hand to your ear and the other hand up because then people get mad. All right, Vic Porcelli coming your way. Just in.
News, analysis, opinion.
This evening we had an assassination attempt against our former president.
We must unite as one nation.
It's incredible that such an act can take place in our country.
This convention will come to order.
The city has opened the doors and rolled out the red carpet for the Republicans.
He's got so many good choices that he can pick.
Party is now Trump's party.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one.
For conservative talk. News Talk STL and newstalkstl.com.
Hey, sand volleyball junkies. Feel the rush and show off your skills for our brave first responders. Join the David Dorn Foundation's Top Gun Maverick Sand Volleyball Fundraiser Tournament Saturday, August 31st. Enjoy Oh So Good barbecue from Sugarfire, a splat gun tent for an energy charge, and DJ Peasy Montana to keep you entertained. Saturday, August 31st at the Sugarfire location in Wentzville.